and you got a chance to relax a bit. Now that we are all recharged, let's continue back with our next session. As we move into our next panel discussion, we delve into a question that is becoming increasingly critical in the AI era. Ethics versus economics. Who truly wins in the AI race? On one hand, we have the drive for innovation, efficiency, and profit, forces that push AI to evolve at lightning speed. On the other hand, we face ethical concerns, bias, privacy, accountability, and other long-term impact on society. Today, our esteemed panelists will help us navigate this delicate balance, examining whether the AI race should be guided by economic ambition, ethical responsibility, and perhaps a careful blend of both. Let's explore the challenges, the trade-offs, and the future of AI through their insights.
So please welcome Krishna Potnis, founder at Connecting Fintech, is a fintech growth advisor with extensive experience in payment systems, handling over 100 million transactions daily. He specializes in tokenization, AI-driven fintech, cloud and soft POS solutions, and RegTech advisory. Krishna Potnis is also the author of Connecting Fintech and a thought leader in digital banking innovations, accompanied by Ankita Sabarwal, head of data privacy at Chadda & Chadda, Nagaraja Bangalore Subbarao, managing attorney of Brand Counsel Law, Shivakumar G, founder and CEO of AT Systems.
Can we please have you on stage? Give a round of applause, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Can you all hear us? Everybody is tired after food, sleepy. So should we try the exercise that DJ tried in the morning? Both hands. Yeah, hopefully some people are woken up. Yeah. So first I need to congratulate Anup. It has been great sessions since morning. First Phoenix coming out. Then we have a fantastic keynote from Sandeep ji, where we understood how to make more money from IPO. And then we have human in the AI, which was very interesting because we talked about empathy. Madam had very good points as well about overall human in the loop, how to different persons have different personality. Then we had new age startups, which I think was one of the interesting panel, and that kind of right pivots into our topic today. Yeah. So basically the topic, as you can see, ethics versus economics. So today we are running behind economics. Especially in India, we have lots of economic pressures. We are running to become the 4th largest economy, I think we became recently. And the race is on. So every startup wants to become unicorn. I think we had hundreds of unicorns now. So the race is on. Every startup wants to become unicorn. So what is the problem with this ethics? Why are we talking about this? Yeah. So anybody, whatever product companies you guys are building the products, anybody reviewing ethics before they start doing product development? If you can raise hands. I don't see any. One. Yeah. So that's that's the situation that we need to work out with. So basically, we need to look at the situation from perspective of humans, as we had learned from the panel earlier. At the same time, we have so much automation, so much AI in the space currently that whether our lives are governed by the AI or whether we have control. So that's a kind of question we are looking at currently. At one point of time, our health insurance can be governed by our watches. At the same time, our browser history can be deciding our credit rating. So it's very tricky today with AI. So that's why we are going to decode today with the esteemed panelist here. Yeah. So we'll try to introduce. I think the team did great work introducing all the panel, but I'll take from each of you 30 seconds. What is your daily struggle with ethics versus economics?
Thank you, Krishna sir. Thank you everyone for joining in. I know we're all facing a post-lunch slumber because of the gulab jamuns, but we'll try to make it interesting. So just to give you a background of what I do, I'm a lawyer. I'm a technology, data privacy, and IP lawyer. So I'm at that intersection of enabling business, yet ensuring ethics. As lawyers, you know, we're always considered to be harbingers of unethical practices because we're always trying to, you know, sort of find loopholes in regulatory frameworks. But actually, we find ourselves at the intersection of allowing, you know, safe business practices within a regulatory framework. So that's the work I do. A lot of my day goes into AI. For the last 5 years, I think, you know, I see myself more as a technologist than a lawyer, thanks to the, you know, groundbreaking technologies which we're seeing daily, on a daily basis. It could be on a patent front, it could be related to privacy. So yeah, that's about me. As we delve more, you know, I'll probably try to give you an insight, but yeah, for 30 seconds, I think that should be good.
Thank you, Ankitaji.
Thank you, Anup and the organizers for inviting. Yeah. Thank you, Anup and Startup Expo for the opportunity. Thank you, Krishna sir. Basically, I'm an IP lawyer too. I started with IP. Now I deal with tech and data privacy. Of course, AI is an extension of technology in general. So as a lawyer, typically, I started, as I told you, a career in IP. Innovation is first thing for me, then the regulation, right? So whatever excites you, you can start working on it. There's no doubt about it. Maybe you can do an MVP. I mean, all of you are in startups, you can understand, minimum viable product. Before you launch your product, maybe you might have to consider ethics. I mean, I would say yes, right? Assessment, compliance, and ethics. So that would be my key mantra. Whenever you're starting a product, you can always look at assessment from an IP perspective, data privacy perspective, and then AI perspective, if at all anything is there. And then the compliance, and then, yeah, that would be my initial remarks.
Thank you, Nagaraj sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Chetan. I'm an executive coach. So I deal with dilemma all the day when I work with CXOs and startup founders. I know many of us here are startup founders. Let me ask, who all of you worry about the return of investment for your VCs and for yourself when you're running business? Many hands. How many of you are thinking about building an ethical product, ethical company? Good to see that. And this is the culture we need to build. And I think that's what we would be trying to do in this moderates in this session. That would be my 30 seconds. Thanks.
Thank you, Chetan
Thank
sir.
you.
Yeah, so based on the earlier panel that we had, where there are all young startup focused people, and there were this question talked about. Yeah, Harsha was here, moderator, and he asked this question to the startup founders. And the three people gave completely three different answers. If you have remembered, Zilopia guy gave the answer, Ajinkya gave the answer, saying that we will use AI to address ethics and regulatory. Prem answered that as long as you do basics right, we should be okay. And Abhilash indicated that as long as we don't share the data, we should be okay. So there were three different views, but I would like to ask Ankita ji, in this startup world, there are everyday new startup and new ideas are coming, and we are at this crossroads, whether to focus on the, like Chetan sir said about VC is getting the money into the system, getting into production, fail fast, that was one of the mantra that earlier panel talked about. Does it seem that ethics is afterthought and it should be incorporated earlier? And what is your thinking, whether there is a blueprint change to be done in startups? Because everybody would like to understand from your perspective.
Thank you, Krishna sir. So, it's a very interesting question, and it's actually a very interesting time, because just a couple of weeks ago, I read this book, and all of you who are interested in AI maybe can just grab your copy. It's called The Final Invention. The author of this book, James Burrard, he said something, which I'd like to quote here, and I found it rather very interesting. He said that AI does not love you, nor does it hate you, but you're just made out of atoms that it can use for something else. I hope that hits hard. Today we're at a time, and especially one of the earlier panelists also said that most of the young graduates are definitely, at a time when things are really growing. But, there are two sides to the same coin. In a country like India, where the population also grows, can we automate everything? Is it ethical to automate everything? Do we compromise dignity over convenience? And these are the questions that, we face on a daily basis. Coming to startups, I genuinely believe, and this is, I'm saying it as a lawyer, there is something called ethical business, where business and ethics can work together. You will find yourself at an intersection often, whether you have to choose business over ethics. I'd like to quote Shah Rukh Khan here. He once said, "Become a philosopher only when you're rich." As an attorney, I would definitely say that, sitting in India, where, probably now you see more and more VCs pumping funds into the companies, but the expectations and the number of startups getting this funding is very, very low. If you're in a bootstrapped setup where you've put in those few lakhs from your parents, you cannot afford to, put ethics before business. But having said that, Indian laws are also very business friendly. I definitely have to say that, I work a lot with companies globally. Japanese, Singapore companies, US companies, Europe. The laws are very, very stringent. In India, the regulatory framework is designed in a manner that you can enable business. Of course, people say India there are a lot of licenses and all of that you need. There is definitely a little bureaucratic effort that you have to put, but I think businesses can run ethically here. I'd like to talk about the data privacy law in India. There's a lot of discussion about data being consumed. India has a new data privacy law. I don't know if many of you know. It's called the DPDP Act. The law is not formally enforced yet. It's going to be enforced in November. This particular law is the first legislation in India which is dedicated to protecting privacy of individuals. So as a business, you have to ensure that if you're collecting data of even one Indian citizen, it could be a customer, it could be an employee, it could be a vendor, you have to comply with the Act. But the Act takes its inspiration from the GDPR, which is the European law, which is much stricter. There, if you're non-compliant, no questions asked. So in India, I think, again, be ethical, try to be ethical, and I'm not going to mince my words here and say, I don't want to take a neutral stand. I'd say that, you will find yourself asking this question again and again, but it has to be situational. Where it probably does not compromise the business, put ethics first. And when I say that, put business first, I don't mean do unethical practices. That tomorrow you quote me, you do a fraud and you say that, oh, Ankita said, array, put business first. I mean, make yourself compliant, but don't go overboard if the cost is too high. And, I also want to just add on to one thing. Ethics for me could be different for, as per ethics for you. Ethics are so subjective. You and I don't have the same ethics. You and I don't have the same morals. Probably my way of doing business can look immoral to you. Probably a policeman who's, standing at the junction, his way of doing his work may seem immoral to you. But who are we to decide? We're nobody to, questions anyone's ethics. But yes, when you talk about ethical practices, do not do unlawful activities. Morals and ethics side mein, work lawfully is what would be my suggestion.
Thank you, Ankita ji. Anybody wants to talk about DPDP, you know whom to talk to. Yeah. So I would urge all the startup founders to get in touch with Ankita, Nagaraj sir, to make sure that you understand the DPDPA. Yeah, otherwise it's going to be tough times in future. Nagaraj sir, your comment on this.
I think it's a challenge sitting next to Ankita. I believe I'll have to find my words to now. I'll try to talk more from a business perspective. Of course, I'll also try to intersect law here. See, end of the day, we are living in a fast-paced world where, as you mentioned, fail fast or do whatever you want, you can do fast. Everybody wants to become a rich, right, overnight. So, thanks to AI, there are few business where you can make quick money kind of a thing. At the same time, when there is no regulation, that means you're legal, right? You're not trying to cross the border or anything, right, in general. So for me, ethics is basically when you are collecting the data from a data perspective, when you are collecting the photos, when you are processing the videos, whatever, try to ensure you put some security standards and other things. You don't, give easy or free access to other people so that they can hack your system or something. Those things you see, if you are utilizing and if you are making some value addition, monetization out of it, that's fine. Nobody is questioning. But don't try to, how many of you tried, recent AI kind of a thing? Try Sari challenge with Gemini. I mean, everybody would have put their image and get a sari, other challenges, right? So that means they are collecting your photos. So basically it's a sensitive thing, right? As an individual, we need to be aware first. And then, okay, let's take for a moment, it's like going back, if I don't eat a tiger, that doesn't mean tiger will not eat us, right? Same thing. If you don't apply your mind and logic, don't expect other people to be ethical, right? You need to be first aware of the situation, right? So you need to know where it is going. So that's where this, the data, the photo, all these things will come, right? Earlier, Facebook was supposed to connect us to our old friends and other things. Today, it is selling us all the ads and it is profiling us, right? That means there is a monetization they are doing. And finally, we are just scrolling and we are just time passing just because it's free. The moment it becomes some money associated with that, I'm sure many of us will quit, right? There are only two ways I would look at it from a general GAN perspective. Either the data has to, whatever the data we are consuming, it has to be charged at an extremely high level, or all these apps should be cost. There should be some cost associated with that. Otherwise, people will still keep scrolling kind of a thing. We are making money for them, the other people. So as I told in the beginning, I think it's always good to see at the beginning what are the ethical things that you're doing, practices for your business rather than at the last, so that at least you don't end up compromising on the personal data or any other critical information of the person whom you are using for your business. That would be my...
Thank you, sir. So basically the Facebook example that sir gave, there was a quote that if you are getting the product for free, that means you are the product. So in that case, you become the product. So this is good comment, sir. Chetan, sir.
Facebook is not the product, we are the product for the Facebook and LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Exactly. And if you've not seen the social dilemma, go and watch it today or when you get the chance. So after, listening about what is ethic, what is legal, I was a little confused. I was thinking what to say. So let me make it simplify. Is there a law that we have to get the engine oil change in our car every 6 months or 1 year? Is there a law? There's no law. Why do we get it changed? Do we all get the engine oil get changed in our two-wheelers or four-wheelers? Why do we get it? There's no law, right? Still get it because our car will stop in the middle of road if we don't get it. And the cost of repairing that would be 10 times of what getting an engine oil change. Same is the ethics, right? Now, it's not illegal if I don't get that engine oil change, but it can stop my vehicle when I need it most. Similarly, ethics, and I would say we have to follow the law, but our ethics should be better than the law, what law tells us. And that should be the guiding principle for all of us. And I think to, again, simplify ethics, because it's very broad, I would, in my conversation, for this discussion, I would split into two things. One is the data. What is the ethics? What is the legal when we are handling the data? And AI is based on data, we all know. There's no AI without data. That's the first thing. Second thing, as an entrepreneur, as a techie, are we putting enough guardrails in the AI system for it not to get wrong? Because it's not the system which is getting wrong, it's you who is building the system who is getting wrong. So I would focus on these two things. That's my take.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So next question would be for Nagaraj, sir. It is more of diving deep into the process of generating AI. So you talked about the photos. So there are lots of brand people generating brand information, logos, using AI today. With banana, people are creating, we were talking earlier as well. So what is the IP of that? So even there were cases earlier where these models or the agents are infringing on some other company's proprietary information. So how do you see this IP security from the AI perspective?
Sure. As you know, there are several cases, especially related to IP litigation. See, let's just step back a little bit. We'll try to understand what exactly is AI. See, AI deals with generally two kinds of data. One is the proprietary data, other one is the personal data in general, right? So when it comes to proprietary data, that means it holds some IP. Either it is a patent, trademark, copyright, or the design in general. So here what we are referring to, OpenAI, Anthropic and other cases is predominantly on the copyright law, right? See what copyright law says. See, all of these laws are slightly older and they were typically for human kind of a thing. That means there was an author who wrote a book, or somebody who created a lyrics, somebody who created a music, or somebody who created a software, for example, with the machine and other things. So all these things were typically were in existence for these kind of things. Now with AI becoming at the intersection of the technology, and see, with AI what is happening is, even though for example an LLM, right, or whatever, SLM, small language model, whatever you call, it needs some data. Without a data, it cannot be transformative or it cannot generate anything, right? So who is feeding the data? Are they procuring from the right source? Do they have a license for that, right? All these things are in question. So that's where in the what you call OpenAI case and Anthropic case, there was a settlement in the US. In the Indian context, it is not yet decided. It's still, the case is going on. Okay, but however, the general principles apply the same for the copyright law. It's the author who has to get some moral or monetary gains. If somebody is using without the permission, like for example, you are using a book for your personal use, no issues. If you are if you are making a photocopy and if you are selling, or if you are creating a pirated version, then definitely you are not supposed to. Same logic applies to even the software and other related to the copyright and in general. So as I told you, that is one scenario. Coming to the what is generated, right? So in terms of the copyright, it is the author who gets the copyright in general, whoever creates. So here, when AI is taking some inspiration or some text from that, and if it is giving a transformative, it's not yet settled who can be the owner. It's more or less neither the AI is claiming, neither the prompt giver is claiming at this point of time. They are the author kind of a thing. But however, if you want to apply for a copyright or any IP in general, it is the human. That means it has to be a natural person, right? It cannot be a legal person who can apply for in general, right? Of course, you can apply, but here we are talking about a legal person who can apply. So the matter is not settled. We expect some kind of a clarity on that. Only when the copyright laws are updated, and then we have a data privacy compliance and other things, then we can see AI becoming ethical and compliant kind of a thing. Till that time, I don't really see much of things around that.
So just quick one before we. So if we create a logo using AI, can that be copyrighted?
I would not say you don't copyright. You go and trademark it also if you want.
Okay.
Yeah, but see, end of the day, when you are applying for a trademark, they are not asking you from which source you are getting.
All right.
Maybe for a copyright perspective, it might not be that viable because,
Yeah.
So I'd like to just sort of, add to it as an IP and, technology litigator. I want to ask how many of us are actually, we own or we are building AI products, AI systems. Just a show of hands, guys, that'll be great. AI systems. So I want to actually talk about two cases which are very interesting. Back in 2014, Amazon, in its Edinburgh office, they developed a model. That model it was an AI model, which was to be used for recruitment purposes. So that model would, automate recruitment. And 11 years ago, these things were path-breaking. Now, every second company is doing that. But this is 2014. So Amazon was pretty excited to launch this, and they said, okay, we're going to do it. Suddenly, when they sort of launched the pilot of the model was trained on a 10-year data set, right? So 2004 to 14 was the data, 2004 to 13 was the data set the model was trained on. And at that point in time, there weren't many women in STEM, right? We all understand STEM, we didn't have many women, in sciences, in technology and engineering. So the model developed an inherent bias against women. So every time any of the resumes would use keywords like women, girls' college, female, it would automatically reject that resume. So this is where, when we're talking about ethics, ethical AI, responsible AI, your model, it can never be 100% non-biased. Because AI systems, I believe, are a reflection of the society. They do not only reflect the society's intelligence, but also its flaws, its inequalities, and its biases. So your system is as biased as you are. But, at a time when things are so different and rapidly moving, I think having a pure data for training is very, very important. Try to make the data as non-biased as possible, because Amazon faced a litigation. They had to pay a huge fine for, deploying a model which was clearly discriminating against women. coming to an Indian example, and this would be helpful. We all know Tata Communication Services, TCS, right? So Tata, they actually, collaborated with an AI company to do a recruitment pilot back in 2019, where all the candidates, right, they had a mask on. So they had completely anonymized the faces. TCS observed a positive hiring rate for female up to 23%. 23% more females were being recruited because there was no bias. So I think when it comes to, our businesses, responsible AI, which we call RAI, has to be the ethical path that you need to follow, the principles. You'll be able to see the principles, the 7 RAI principles. I think they should guide your ethics when it comes to AI companies. And just adding on to what Nagraj sir also said, when it comes to ownership, right, nobody owns the data in today's time. No, you only own your data. You don't own my data just because we all know about MyGate. How many of us have MyGate? MyGate, when it started its business, it went up to every society, every commercial building and said, you know what, we're going to give you these e-barriers for free. And, societies, because in India, we love free lunches, right? So everybody was more than happy to take it. They said, yeah, this will be great. All that MyGate said was, you need to put a QR code, right, on every vehicle that comes into. And for convenience, we did it. Was the real business model that e-barriers? No. The real business model was that every Swiggy guy who enters your society, MyGate should know, so that they can sell that data to Zomato at a higher price. So whenever, and we're, as Indians, we're happy to give out our names and phone numbers at a McDonald's for a burger. Whenever I'm traveling abroad, nobody asks for it. But in India, the business practices are such that, for a Mc Veggie, I'm ready to give out my details. So I think ethical data practices have to start from you. As an individual, you need to be conscious of your data to be able to build conscious data compliant businesses. If I care for my data as a business owner, I will also care for your data. Because you may be a customer for me in my business, but I'm going to be a customer at 30,000 other businesses. So for me as an attorney and with the work that we do, I'd say legal ethics, compliance, everything has to start at an individual level. Just because you're not being caught crossing a red light, karte raho. You don't do it because it's not safe. And we've all learned it over time. So I think, Indians, we like to infantilize ourselves. We want a danda on our heads all the time to do stuff. Let's, as business owners, not infantilize the businesses that we're building. So whatever compliance that you need to do, you should not wait for a ministry notification or a court order to suddenly panic and do that compliance. Do it from the beginning. Privacy has to be privacy by design, embedded into the systems. You can't have a startup ready and you're at a product launch stage and then you say, isme privacy policy dal do. Doesn't happen. You're going to face the repercussions under the DPDP Act. The penalties can range up to 250 crores. Or 2% of the annual turnover, one-time penalty. So if you have a turnover of 1 crore, we're looking at 2 lakhs at a one-time penalty. So I think, ethics and all of that needs to come from within. These giants who thought they were too smart, law caught up to them. Umpteen number of times when Meta thought it's too smart, and the entire Cambridge Analytica case came into the forefront, they've lost millions and millions of dollars. So don't think that you're too smart because legislatures and judiciary is smarter. That would be my 2 cents on
Thank
this.
you. So we need to hear other side of the story.
Yeah.
from Chetanji. So with all this, a bit of a scary stuff. Yeah?
The big numbers.
Yeah, big numbers. And how do startup take this over? How is it going to hamper the development? Is it going to hamper our startup boom, this DPDPA? So what is your take from the industry perspective?
Sure. So extending Ankita's example, I think many of you would have heard about culture eats strategy for breakfast. Have you heard from Peter Drucker? Yeah. Right? I'll modify it a little bit. Culture eat algorithm for breakfast, which is more relevant to it. So it's on the culture what we are building. Otherwise, all your self-regulation, all of your responsible governance you can have, it will get eaten by the culture what you have in your organization. Now, coming up to the question, how do we do it? Krishna, that's what you're asking for.
Right.
And this is dilemma we all face. Do we go for the speed or do we go for the governance? Right? And I don't think it's one or other question. It's a balance. And coming from the product, coming from the technology background, when we build a software, we build a product, we don't only think about the feature we are shipping or in your phones when you get an update. So update is what is visible to you, but that's not the only thing I'm shipping as an entrepreneur, as a product manager. I'm also taking care of that all the defects are getting fixed. An app might be so beautiful, so user-friendly. Will you use if it has defects? No, simple. Third thing is, what is the regulation, the risk? That's also part of the flow which an entrepreneur has to take care of. And so I give this example very often. There are some metrics which we are doing it for the sake of others. But there are some metrics which we measure for our sake. So I take my body weight every morning, not to tell it to anyone, but to ensure that I am healthy. So I think governance, risk, ethics is something which you could be an entrepreneur, you could be a startup founder, you could be a developer. You have to have that middle of the governance. And the way of doing it is split your work into three. The new work you're building, the new feature, the defects you're fixing, and the governance. And if you're not taking all of them at the same time, and I would like to share one example here from Microsoft. There was one time in the history of Microsoft when there was a memo went to all the developers that we are not going to ship any new software till we told you to do. Why? Because they had so much of defects to be fixed. So they were only focusing on building new features. They forgot about the defects. And then it became so much that they could not move till they clear that, what we call the technical debt also.
Right.
In product or technology. So always have three buckets: new feature, fixing defect, and the governance of that.
Yeah, so ethics is not a feature. Lack of ethics is not a bug. Right? Okay. So
Where is the bar?
it is the bug.
It's the engine oil in your car.
Yes. Okay. So I think we are almost at the end. So we are talking about DPDPA. So you said it is not as stringent as GDPR. So should we be worried about that there are some things that are not covered by DPDPA and there will be holes?
No, that's an interesting question. See, the DPDP Act, right? It's a law. It's a new law. And it's obviously privacy. It's a privacy-focused law. But just because, there was no law, it's not like companies did not follow the basic privacy framework. I'll give you two examples. Back in 2020, any one of us has insurance from Star Alliance Health Insurance? Okay, you do, right? Even I. Yes. So 2020, Star Alliance Health Insurance, they suffered a data breach. And about 7.2 million users were affected. Their data was breached and it came into the public domain. The following year, Star Insurance lost 34% of its revenue. Angel One, Any one of us knows about Angel One? Everybody does, right? Angel One very recently faced a data breach. While they were able to fix it very quickly, they did face a 4.7% reduction in their share value. So coming back to the DPDP Act, right? Now the Act mandates every business, irrespective of the size, you could be a proprietorship, you could be a Microsoft, you could be a Wipro, you could be a partnership. If you are collecting data of Indian citizens, you have to comply under the Act. You don't have an option. Now, of course, the compliance frameworks includes a lot of policies, agreements. If any one of you is looking for that, get in touch, separately. But coming back to how it differs from the DPDP, from the GDPR. See, India is a very different country. It's like, if you compare India and Europe, it's comparing apples and oranges. Europe is a very mature jurisdiction when it comes to data. The GDPR, which came into 2017, was not the first data act for Europe. Europe has had a history of data privacy acts ranging back to 1974. Can anybody tell me why was Europe always more conscious of data privacy as compared to any other country? Anyone? Absolutely. Europe has faced a history of profiling. People were profiled on the basis of their race, ethnicity. And unlike the colonial hangover, which we've overcome, Europe has still not. So people were always conscious of their data. So the GDPR Act, of course, has, certain specific requirements which differ from the Indian Act. Because India is not that mature a jurisdiction, and India cannot afford to have such stringent acts right now. Because we're a developing country. No matter what people say, Europe sitting in NATO would have a different stand. Because they can afford that. In India, we have to feed so many more mouths. So the Indian Act is less stringent. Having said that, I would not say it does not cover anything that the GDPR covers. It's just that the requirements are more localized in India. The Indian law does not ask you to localize data. So you don't have to have servers in India. It's not mandatory. But in Europe, there is a whole thing of if you're an adequate country, you have to if you're transferring data outside Europe, countries have to be measured based on their adequacy. In India, we have a blacklisting approach. There are some countries to which data cannot be transferred. The list of those countries is yet to be out, but we anticipate it would be Pakistan. For obvious reasons, and we're facing cybersecurity threats in the last decade from Taiwan as well. So these two countries we definitely are anticipating to be on the list. So if any one of you is transferring any data to these two countries, I would just want to sort of warn you, do not do that. If you have, I hope you're not dealing with Pakistani customers. If you are, then start, getting rid of that domain of your business. And otherwise you're sorted. Then you just have to get a basic compliance framework done, and you're more or less sorted. But I'd just like to end my 2 cents on something. I would just like to say that all of us who are sitting here, right, I know we are going to go out and then give our phone number at McDonald's again. You don't have to. Start saying no. Wherever you don't have to give your data, start saying no, I don't want to give it. I do not want to give it. Can I still get my burger? They will give you your burger. I've tried it. So that would be my take on it.
Thank you everybody. I think we are out of time. So there are so many key takeaways. One is the DPDP Act. Again, the ethics is not optional. Ethics is mandatory. Also, regulatory is something that you need to put in the process as early as possible. And you have to be careful about what you have generated from AI. Yeah. So be careful about what you are building. And these are the guys that you need to contact. When you are in doubt, you have a problem. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Can I say something?
Yes, please, Chetan sir.
And we're not trying to scare that slow down your innovation for the sake of government. That's not the message here. The message is that innovation will go on, innovation pace will increase. Do a balance with the regulation, do a balance with the governance.
Yeah, use the expertise here today. Yeah.
You need to be more disciplined. You need to have a different approach rather than your normal approach. Like you're copying some code and you're just trying to implement. Do check whether it has some privacy framework and other things. That's
Thank
more
you,
of
panel.
a... Yeah.
Thank you, Chetan sir. Thank
you.
Nagaraj sir. Thank you, Ankita ji. Thank you, Anup.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, panelists, for this amazing session. We would like to call upon Arup sir
for the distribution of mementos.
On behalf of everyone here, a big thank you to all our panelists for sharing their insights and expertise. Your perspectives on ethics, economics, and the AI race have been truly enlightening and thought-provoking. We really appreciate the time, knowledge, and energy you brought to today's discussion. Thank you very much to all.
With this, we would like to call upon the Christ University students to continue with the session ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, ISBR. To lead this exciting session, we have with us a dynamic moderator, a true enabler of innovation and entrepreneur. Our moderator for this session is Mittu Tigi, a seasoned entrepreneur and a passionate advocate for the startup ecosystem, with over a decade of experience in nurturing early-stage ventures. Mittu has played pivotal roles in supporting founders, guiding growth strategies, and fostering responsible entrepreneurship in India. Please join me in welcoming our moderator, Mr. Mittu Tigi. And now, let's meet our esteemed panelists, innovators, and thought leaders who are shaping the future through technology, leadership, and human connection. Our first panelist, Dr. Manthan Mehta, is a visionary at the intersection of healthcare technology and human behavior, a physician by training and health tech innovator. He is on a mission to make healthcare more ethical, sustainable, and impactful through power of innovation. We next have our second panelist, Mr. Ajit Padmanabh, the founder and CEO of Who We Are, and a TEDx speaker redefining how we experience art, culture, and heritage in the digital age, with the roots in the IT world through Infosys and EdgeVerve. Ajit blends technology with storytelling to retell history through immersive experience using VR and metaverse. Let's welcome Mr. Ajit Padmanabh. And finally, join us in welcoming Mr. Vishwanath Raju, CEO and co-founder of Plug Scale Innovation Labs, a leader known globally for his groundbreaking work in generative AI and human capital management. A true visionary and eternal optimist. Let's welcome Mr. Vishwanath Raju. With such an incredible lineup of experts from diverse domains, healthcare, immersive techs, and AI-led transformation, today's discussion promises to be both thought-provoking and future-focused. Let's hand it over to our moderator, Mithu Tigi, to lead us through this inspiring conversation. Over to you, sir.
Hello. Hello, hi everyone. Good morning. Yes, I know you're wondering it's good afternoon, but we had a very interesting session right before this, especially with data privacy, ethics, and how you make money using AI and a lot of things. In the morning, we have been having some interesting sessions revolving around AI, and I think this is a very crucial discussion we need to have, especially when we are talking about AI in 2025. Today, Bharat or India is trying to be at the forefront of startup innovation. So from 2014 till 2025, we have moved from about 500, 600 startups to almost 1.7 lakh startups. We have moved from a double-digit number somewhere 10 years back to the third largest startup ecosystem in the world today in terms of unicorns, in terms of number of startups, and a lot of other parameters. So when we are talking about building new things, I think we need to talk about, especially using AI in this decade, we need to talk about what we want to build for India rather than what we want to build for the world first. Because whether we like it or not, we are 1/7 of the world population. We are the third. We're going to be the third largest economy or the fourth largest right now. So we really need to focus on the problems that we have here. So that's the topic we have for today, AI for Bharat, solving for the problems that India needs to be solving first. And these are some of the problems that the West might not, or I would extend it a little bit and say the global North and the global South. So we belong to the global South, and there's at least 1.4 billion problems we need to solve in India. So with that context, I'll request a panelist to give a brief introduction about themselves and also maybe some thoughts around this topic that we have for today.
Sure. Thank you, and nice to see you all. I am happy that we are the session after lunch. You know, the first session after lunch was quite emphatic. So economics was as ethics, evergreen topic. Congratulations to the panel. My name is Ajit Padmanabh. I run a startup called Who We Are. And the idea is to answer that question through the technology of virtual reality. So we create virtual reality experiences of monuments, temples, and heritage sites that either exist today or do not, and we give you a time travel experience so that you can visit Hampi the way Krishna Deva Raya would have seen it. That's the kind of work that we do. And of course, we are backed by historians and oceanographers and archaeologists and not VCs. We are bootstrapped. Insofar as AI is concerned, because of the work that we do is India-centric, I look at AI as a primary enabler for India, Bharat specifically, because we come from the land where there's no economics versus ethics. It is economics and ethics. Kautilya's Arthashastra is replete with this. So we, as an AI company, are creating foundational algorithms that are inspired by Kautilya's Arthashastra or Vidur's Niti Shastra or Tarka Shastra or any of these Shastras. Because I believe that these sutras or algorithms are time-tested and they will stand good in whatever civilizational modernity we are in. Addiction or no addiction, I think these will hold good. So that's what we do in AI, and I believe, it's a very pertinent problem that we are solving for India, because if you look at it statistically, 700 million users in India of social media. And for me, social media is AI. ChatGPT is a baby right now. Social media is the adolescent, and we are all prey to it. Personally, I'm not on social media. So social media, if you look at it, 700 million users from India, uploading around, at least 20 GB of data every week. And that tells you the volume of data that is used for training by the big four. And the more data we give through, Ghiblis and such arts, the more compromising we are in terms of our own, modalities or usage patterns or behaviors or whatever that is, right? So this is a huge data gap for the world to consume. 700 million is double the population of America. That's the number of users today. 400 million users are from the rural belt of India, not the urban. Urban is lesser, right? So we are giving off so much data, and the algorithms are getting trained on it within a fraction of a second, right? So we are, in essence, enabling the world of AI through Indian data. I think that story has to be flipped. The story has to be, we enable AI for Bharat and Bharatiyas, and we do it in a Bharatiya way. That's what I'm here for, and I look forward to the conversation. Thank you for having me here. Thanks, Dr. Anup Taraflar.
Thank you.
Thanks. So first of all, I would like to thank Dr. Anup because of him here. I think it was an interesting topic, but before that I'll give my introduction. My name is Vishwanath. In the circles of HR, I'm known as man of patents. I've got 4 patents on agentic AI. I run a company called PlugScale. We are an innovation company in terms of GCCs. We believe that there are a lot more GCCs which can come to India, and we have an agentic AI framework to help solve their talent acquisition problems. We recently built an agent. You sit in this room and ask for 3 people who can be the next CEO of a company that you are looking at. After this session, you will have 3 CVs that you should talk to. That's the power of that agent that we have built today, and we are trying to see how ethics and all of this comes into picture, because we would want to ensure that our models are trained. Most importantly, India is a place where we have to be today, and I strongly believe that the equation will be flipped. No more projects from US or Europe. We'll have to do a lot of things for us, and India will become a sustainable country someday. And I'm talking about maybe 3 to 4 years from now, I think we'll be a sustainable country. Thank you.
Thank you for both of you for setting up that context around what you're doing and how you think about this topic around AI and India together. Can we maybe start off this discussion by looking at what are the core problems using AI that India needs to solve for itself, so that we can we bullet point this, like what sectors, what areas?
I'm also looking at the time. So I think he mentioned pretty much the problems. In fact, I am a strong believer of not giving any data when you are not supposed to give any data to people, right? And the worst thing what's happening is that because of our data, the models are getting trained, right? We are actually not knowingly giving a lot of data to a lot of people that they are using it for, I don't know whose advantage is it, right? So I think it's important for us to understand what is important for us and what is that we can give it to the societal impact. That's one. Second thing is in India, unlike US and Europe, different countries, we have 22 different national languages, right? So AI implementation in India is not as easy as we can do, right? And there are cultures, something is good for you, something is not. So it's not very easy in India to build any AI algorithm, right? It's always very tough. Third is whenever you are using data, I think not many companies are focusing on Privacy Act, I think, which is DPDP Act will actually take some precedence there. But I think there's a lot of problems that we are facing today. We are doing a lot of things not knowing what is the repercussion of that. So I think that's where the knowledge base have to come in. I think these acts need to help us to kind of make sure that what we are doing is right. That's my view. Thank you.
Is it okay now? Oh, yeah. Okay. Excellent. So, yeah, what's the uniqueness of India? I just touched upon it in the previous point itself. And I want to add to this the fact that, you know, all of us are using ChatGPT nowadays, right, to frame your emails or, you know, and to copy paste whatever you want to copy paste. How many of you are from Gen Z over here? Nice. Excellent. And for you, GPT is staple? Almost native to what you do on a daily basis, right? So here's some research from MIT Media Labs in July this year, where they did a very interesting study. They gave the same experiment of writing an essay to 3 groups of people, 54 people in total. One group had to write it on their own in terms of, you know, using their brain and writing down. The other one could use a search engine. The third one could use GPT or any similar, you know, transformational technologies. Now, surprisingly, the guys who used GPT and wrote the essay, 5 minutes after the essay was submitted, they were asked questions out of their own essays, and they were not able to recollect what they had written. 84% of them. This neurologically is called cognitive debt. In 5 years' time, your brain size will shrink. In 10 years' time, you will not be able to think for yourself as to how you will deal with a situation that's happening in your real life. Now, this is research done by MIT Media Labs, which also invests into OpenAI. So there is, you know, they don't need to do this kind of research for their own safety, but they have. Now, this should be an eye-opener for a country like India, which is having a young population, demographic dividend as they call it. Just imagine if we want to, you know, look at the developed India as a model in 2047, and the generation that is going to do it for us are in their 10s or 20s today. If they are depleted cognitively, where are we heading, right? So that's exactly the that's the problem that we should solve for India using the multimodal algorithms like what he alluded to. 22 national languages, 1995 dialects. Internet is only English. It's spoken by probably around 10 to 15% of the world population. That may be on the higher side. So that much of data we still have in our villages, in our towns, and not digitized. Can we catapult this onto a modeling language, a complete AI for Bharat and probably the global south? And that should be the unique problems we should solve at the foundational level.
So mainly barriers to language, as both of you have mentioned, is something I believe India needs to solve for itself, and which is something that the West will not come and definitely solve for us. But is this something that is completely untouched in today's world, or are there efforts going on? Because I know India AI has, and Bhashini as a project by MITI, there's a few things that is there and trying to do something in this space. So do you think we are doing the right things? Do we need to do more?
So I think India is divided according to me three things. One is obviously the large academic population. They are doing their own research on AI and they are doing fundamentally really well. We talk about labs from IITs and IIMs and all that stuff, including management. The second is the population who was creating IT jobs, which could be either GCCs or AI and all that stuff. I think they are also doing a lot of stuff. And third is government. I think what is missing is who is governing all of this and how do we know at what maturity we are as a country. Maybe from a startup ecosystem, there is an extremely good idea nobody in the world has. But then that's only that particular problem statement. So I think we need to have a system in such a way that, like for example, US, social media means people talk about Meta. So if in case AI, can people talk about India? Because I think in all the aspects there is research going on. I'll give an example. So in fact, a lot of people will be tempted to ask AI the first question. You try doing this after this. So let me take an example. Last week, I was called to one of these IITs all the professors and deans were sitting, and I was told to give a lecture on the use of generative AI and all this stuff. It's a very simple concept. I think anyone can do this stuff. Instead of just asking what should I tell them and build the content around it, I just built the content first. And then build the content in such a way that I did not use any of those GPTs across. Thought, 10 times, 15 times. And then finally I made a presentation. I am a Perplexity fan, by the way. I'm not a great ChatGPT fan. So I put the Perplexity, I put that, presentation in that, and I said that now you rate my presentation. You will not believe, on all the slides it gave me 9 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 9 out of 10. All the slides. Now after that I said, okay, you are giving me 9 out of 10, which means I'm missing out on one thing. Tell me what that is. Each slide it said, on this slide, maybe change is verbatim from this to this. Look at the elevation of GPT or, AI and not using AI. So that's where I'm telling you. So don't use AI to start asking it. So you build yourself, you try doing it something on yourself and then start asking it. In fact, you can do the social experiment. You can ask ChatGPT on how does ChatGPT rate on your prompts. It will generally give you a 7 out of 10 or 6 out of 10 depending upon how fast you are, how talented you are. But then if you ask the same question slightly different way, can you give me the rating of my prompts basis world's top 1% of the people who are also writing the prompts in the same way? Then the whole equation will change. It will say that you are nowhere. Don't stop there and say that, okay, now that you are saying I'm nowhere, give me a 3 months plan for me to build prompts the way the world's top 1% people are writing the prompts. It will give you a career map for next 3 months and it will become a career coach. So it's all there. I think the way you have to use it is very, very important according to me. Thank you.
With regard to the language, vernacular AI, are we doing
Yeah.
good?
So we are doing okay is what I would say. Now, India AI, as one of the earlier, I think, keynote speakers spoke about the investments that India AI is doing into AI in India. It's around 10,000 crores of money. I think 1 month back, an IIT Bombay-based startup, incubated startup, it's called Bharat Gen. That won around 988 CR of the funding. 988 CR. It's the highest funded startup in India by the government. Single entity. What they are doing is they are doing language-based models across 22 languages and some tribal dialects also. And they are already 3 or 4 years into it. So they are doing a phenomenal work because what they are doing is, and they are partners with us, so we take their input into our modeling. They have identified the difference between how English is treated by AI and how Indian languages have to be treated by AI as a foundational algorithmic construct. Stay with me. I don't know how many of you are techies here. Oh, excellent. But just the others, please bear with me. Just a minute I will take, okay? English language as a construct, it's got a subject and a predicate, right? I am going there. Subject, predicate, verb, all of that comes in. Indian language is when you are asked something in Kannada, Bartini, right? Those who understand Kannada here, or Hindi, ha jana, right? You don't look at yourself. You don't say main aunga, main jaunga. You don't need to complete the sentence. It's a construct of the language that is inherently built. That construct is unique to Indian languages. All of them. Sanskrit, Tamil, whatever it is. That is not being detected by today's AI. Because AI is built on subject, predicate, verb, adjective, all of these parts of speech. It's called parts of speech tagging for the techies over here. There is no need of POS tagging for Indian languages. That's what these guys have cracked. And that gives us the ability to catapult on the Indian language AI content development space exponentially. That's the reason why they were funded so beautifully. Right? I think we have to look at it this way, in the sense the technology that we use should be absolutely home-built, home-owned, because our problems are different, our solutions are different.
Definitely. I also want to touch upon something you said in the very beginning of your introduction. You mentioned that almost 700 million users, 400 of them are in rural space. In quite some time, AI also you will see the same. Of course, as it penetrates more and more users, you will see a very large number of users of ChatGPT, Perplexity, or even your Google AI that's inbuilt in your phones being mostly from a rural area, right? But is our economy or the startups or the businesses trying to solve for the real rural problems that's there? Like I'm talking about real on-ground problems, not able to get credit, not able to understand the weather pattern for agriculture. A lot of those simple things. I'm not talking about the larger.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, we've got a long way to go in that space. In terms of startups working for the rural sector, it's mostly foundations and NGOs that do it, right? AI technology startups, in my personal opinion, to the limited knowledge that I have, far and few. And that is a genuine problem to solve.
So I think the rural problems are slightly different than the urban problems, right? So, and urban problems with advance of agentic AI and all that, so I think it's very intuitive to solve the problem using AI, right? But one is the knowledge base rural has on how to solve the problem and how AI can solve the problem. I think that's where he was also talking about, right? So, but then we are not very far away because we have very intelligent youth today, right? So, and youth comes from different universities, colleges and all that stuff. It's just that, if they think that, okay, instead of I coming to a Bangalore and, working for a tech startup company or a startup company or something, now that I've studied this 4 years, can I go back to my village and solve the problems of maybe, how to do better farming and all that? That kind of a thing will change the whole ecosystem. In fact, there's one location in Andhra Pradesh, we are not supposed to tell that because working in that location, all the engineering students came back to the, that village, and now they're building that village to becoming an AI village for them, right? In the next 1 year, we'll all know about it because we are working closely with them. I think that's going to happen. I think we are just seeing that, and India is also a country where we would like to see examples of success to do what we should be doing. I think that's where we are getting into.
I want to also touch upon another topic. You mentioned about how sentence structuring of English versus Sanskrit-based languages or the Indic languages, basically. Similarly, another problem that we commonly see is that most of the data sets, structured data sets that's available for maybe health or maybe finance, all of this comes from the Western knowledge, right? Like even I read a report somewhere which says that your smartwatch, when it detects the heartbeats, right, doesn't work for a brown skin because most of it has been trained on a white skin, right? So the data set itself is missing, and in India has not been known for having recordical data, structured recordical digital data, right? In all sectors, I'm saying. So how do we solve for that? Because AI predominantly works, as far as I understand, on the available training data set. How can we solve that?
Fantastic. Great question, actually. How can we solve that is by contributing with more data in vernacular. And that is the spice that India has, right? Now, there is one initiative by IIT Madras, it's called AI for Bharat. It's basically the title of this, coincidentally. Now, they are crowdsourcing vernacular newspapers, vernacular sentences across all the Indian languages because they are creating the data set. Now, India AI also has launched a data set called AI Kosh, right? I think it's a data set across 20 languages, if I'm not wrong, and good amount of newspapers, good amount of current affairs data, good amount of geographical data, village data, political data, all of that kind of stuff. But yes, we have to create that kind of data sets. Now, there's no comparison between the data set volume in English and the rest of the world languages. There's absolutely no comparison. While English commands around 99% of the internet space, 1% is split between Asian, African, and Native American dialects and languages, right? And I believe the government is working towards this with AI Kosh and various other data set creations. And they are also pressing a lot for digitization of manuscripts, which is in vernacular, right, across Indian languages, Malayalam, Tamil, Sanskrit, all of them. So that will create that data corpus that we need. The problem with today's AI construct is data, but there are ways to circumvent data and still create AI algorithms. And that's what I think India should capitalize on in the short term.
Would you love to add something to that?
I think pretty much he mentioned about it, but one thing that I can tell you that there are sets of problems that we have, huge amount of data on one side, and sets of problem on another side, and no data on another side. And that's the actual challenge that we're facing today. It could be language related, it could be historical related, political related, whatever it is, but we don't have any data. So I think previous panel talked about one of the...
When you say we don't have data, you mean that we don't have structured digital data that
Yes.
computer
That can be used and formulated and all that. I think one of the experiments done in the so I'll just give an example. It could be a recruiting example, but bear me out for a minute. In 2008, one of these Bay Area company had created a job advert, and it said that they are looking at coding Avengers, and they got an interesting number of applications. But end of the day, when they saw it, they did not have not even a single female applicant.
Within the job descriptions can actually relate to some genders, right? So when they have made it, I'm 100% sure, I may not be able to talk about on behalf of them, but when they made it, they didn't even know that that could actually happen. So these things which in NLP can solve some of those problems. Obviously now we are talking about a couple of other things that are coming up, but those are very, very important aspects that I'm talking about. Thank you.
So I think just to summarize our discussions for some time, I have one or two more important questions I need from your side to get answered. But my understanding is we really need to solve on-ground rural problems, which we are anyway not doing a lot good, as most of you are saying. But with the invent of AI also coming in, we definitely need to push more for the real on-ground problems of the rural population. Second, what you have mentioned is, both of you mentioned about language and vernacular language needing more involvement in the AI space, and leading which leads to a lot of advancements of how we can use AI as an application level. The third, I think we could agree upon that data as a training data set for AI is not available, and we need to build on these things. Now, my biggest question is, who will build all these things? Who will fund these things? Right? Because these are not easy. Like if you know, or if you look at the trajectory of OpenAI, they didn't start in 2021 when they launched GPT, right? GPT 3.5. They were there for almost 7-8 years, and DALL-E was being tested for at least 5-6 years before all of this. And it was a foundation that they set up, and there was a non-profit angle to it. A lot of funding had come from corporates. Does India have this intent? Because without intent, we cannot do it. Does the Infosys, TCS, and Birlas of India, will they put, because government funds will dry up, like 10,000 crores, yes, good, but will it become 100,000 crores? Might not.
So I think they are doing as I speak, because I know a couple of at least services companies, they have their own AI labs. They are at least claiming that they are solving a lot of problems, and they are also using the CSR angle to either fund or get more projects, kind of a thing. But I'm more interested in some of those use cases that GCCs are actually looking at. In fact, a couple of GCCs that I'm talking to, one of the GCCs have solved a retail problem.
Again, the problem with GCCs are that they're not Indian companies, and they're not solving for India.
So the straight away answer is it's like a cat and nobody wants to bell it, right? But there is some kind of initiative going on across all. Everyone is trying to do something. There's no singularity point that all of them are reaching. For example, let's take an example of any of these initiatives, right? CSR. Everyone has to know what is the goal of that company. Nobody knows that. Everyone is working for their own organizations. They're using AI. They're thinking that they are solving the problem. They wanted PR and all that. But I don't think so. There is a singularity across all these entities saying that, okay, all of us are working for this cause. I don't think so. That's there according to me. I may be wrong.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I think there are two problems here. One is, it's a loaded question, by the way. And I come from the service industry. I was with Infosys for 18 years, as I told you guys. And we, around a decade ago, worked on GPT 1.0, creating a supply chain visibility chatbot, which is today called Agentic AI. We built it across Salesforce and other CRMs and ERPs back in 2016. And as he's rightly said, we claim to be doing a lot of things, right? On the ground, it is absolute wrapper classes or wrapper softwares that we build without any intent of improving on the AI constructs. So yes, that's a basic problem, that where would the funds come? Because the compute power is no joke. The GPUs that we need, I call them guzzlers, we eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They eat multiples of it on an hourly basis. It's like, you get these credits from AWS, no? $5,000 credits, right? Any startups here? $5,000 credits goes in 2 minutes. You've not even tested your model. It's done. It's over. Now what? Next what? Either the startup shuts down, or you kind of wait for the next $5,000 or the $10,000. Absolutely of no use. How is it done in US? How is it done in China? How has China managed in the last 20, 25 years to come out as number one in AI? President of US, Donald Trump, has had to release an AI manifesto from the government of US, and half of the manifesto talks about how do we tackle China. So we need to invent models here. China is heavily government-ridden. I'm not saying that's a great model, right? We are a democracy. They are not. We believe in our own freedom of speech. They don't. There's no comparison there. But at the same time, we need to learn from them as to how they have come up in the last 20 years, and they're ruling the field of AI and probably the cinema world also, right? Now, and they are our neighbors. For whatever it is, civilizationally, I'm into history, with the startup. Civilizationally, if I look at it, India and China contributed 60% of GDP worldwide before one common era. Can you believe it? And we were clocking 33% GDP year on year before one common era, up until 17th century. The two countries were slogging out for the world. We need to go back to that state. To do that, now coming to your question, we need to look at it from a multi-pronged perspective. I don't expect the service industry to fund this at all. Service industry is still very busy with GCCs and American-centric projects. They've not been able to de-risk themselves. These are my personal opinions. They've not been able to de-risk themselves from United States of America as their principal client geography. They have not. And failing which, we need to rely on certain family offices, foundations, or somebody who has the patient funding to look at AI as a 15 or a 10-year project. You cannot get an ROI of 3x in 4 years. I am sorry. Please go to a quick commerce guy or somebody else. I think we need a very, very focused initiative here. India AI is trying to do that as well at a governmental level, but at the private level, I don't see the action that I see in China or even in African nations. And I think it's a, like you said, we have to bell the cat or we have to call the elephant in the room. Because without these funding, our talks and our seminars can continue, but nothing tangible will come out of India. Nothing.
Great. So we're almost at the end of the time. So I'll ask a very rapid-fire kind of question to both of you. Can you give one bold prediction for India and AI 5 years from now?
So as a knowledge economy or for people knowledge in AI, I think we'll be at least one of the two people in top. That's what I can tell you. But how many problems we can solve in the next 1 or 2 years, I don't know. From a knowledge standpoint, we'll say that, okay, first Bill Gates was from US and second Bill Gates from India, like an AI Bill Gates kind of. That will happen for sure because I am already seeing some people doing a lot of work. But how much problems they can solve for rural India or can AI become the whole course of it, I don't know.
Okay. In the 5 years from now, I am looking at LBMs coming from India, India pioneering in LBMs. What is LBM? Large behavioral models. I am saying today that 5 years from now, we will be pioneering the way a generation will behave on social media, on gaming platforms, on the metaverse, or on OTTs. That behavior models will come from India and our scriptures, our shastras, or whatever that we have. I think that would be a game changer for India, at least, to put their foot on the AI map. Quite literally the foot.
Thank you. So we have almost at the end of the time. I just would love to summarize our discussions for today. From a problem perspective, we want to solve for language, we want to solve for data, and we want to solve for the rural on-ground problems. We are struggling with who will fund all of these things. We have to find somebody who will do it. The private sector needs to come in harder, stronger, and do what China is doing or do what US is doing. And from a bold prediction perspective, 5 years from now, as you said, India might be on number 1 or number 2 in terms of talent, in terms of knowledge in AI space. And as you said, LBM is something that would come out of India as a very strong player. So I think these are the outcomes I could get out of the discussions today. Just summarizing up for everyone over here. With that, we'll wrap up the session, and maybe if anyone has, maybe we can take 1 or 2 questions. We are almost out of time, but if anyone really has a very interesting question for the panelists. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey. Hey.
I've just come back to India, and one of the things I keep hearing from e-commerce companies, if I talk to them, is, hey, we're building for Bharat. We're building for Bharat. And these are the top e-commerce players in this country. And I ask them, what does that mean? What is it that the Bharat guy requires that the Delhi guy doesn't require? Different language, the large firms do that. He requires the same things, right? He wants a good price, he wants a good delivery. There is nothing specific about the Bharat customer, at least in e-commerce, that I have found that is substantially different. It's different in degrees. So please pardon the challenge of this question. What specifically is a rural India requirement that is not a urban India requirement or a global requirement?
So I'll give a specific problem statement today. Exactly 200 kilometers from Bangalore, if you go towards Andhra, you don't have people to do farming work. Right? And we know robots can do some work. Right? Who will do this thing? That's one problem statement. Because I've been working on rural problem statement as part of one of these initiatives from ISF. Second is the climate thing, right? There's a lot of data available with you that can help farmers to do farming in the right way. And do we know that the farmers know what they should be doing at the time when we wanted them to know? Right? Third problem statement. I have seen, I don't know, I have not seen in India, but I have seen in US and China, there are these robots who plug the apples and all that. I have not seen that technology in India, at least working technology, right? Then the other problem statement is seeds. We sell seeds like anything, but then we don't know what seeds can blow in what direction and what wind and all that stuff. These are all problems available. There are some engineering NGOs working on it, but I was not very comfortable with the kind of solutions I have seen. I myself have, in Vizag, this is my my place, 150 kilometers ahead. We don't have people to work in the farms, and they don't want to work, right? And there is an opportunity area. So they also need, so same example I'll tell you, they also need somebody to give them burgers. They are getting the burgers today. Those guys are giving the burgers to the doorsteps, but not this one. That's the challenge. We are working on that, so don't worry. We'll get there. Thank you.
One major difference between rural and urban, we have enough channels. Oh, please sit down. Please. It's been a long day. we have enough channels in urban India to express opinion widely and virally. Rural India, they do not have the platforms that we have because of the language limitation. They cannot express themselves. They do not have these kind of panel discussions. They are not on television sets. Television sets are dominated by urban experts, urban speakers. I think, and we only see rural India when there is a strike or there's an en masse protest on the streets. Otherwise, we don't see a rural opinion at all. In fact, all of us here are urbans, and he comes with a very rare rural experience, so he's able to talk about it. Otherwise, I think 95% of us don't even know what rural problems are, because they are living it every day. We don't. We are happily, on the stage. Time is running out. For us, this matters. For them, whether the next day will rain, when it rains, their entire year's funding is over. When it rains, when they lose their crops, they are done, right? So I think one major problem, if AI can solve, if multilingual AI can solve, is the freedom of speech being made available to all the rural people for their individual expression. Because that will transform the way businesses look at rural economy. For them, for Facebook, for example, or for any other social media giant, it's a number, 400 million people. They have no clue what they do. 97% of people from the rural belt in India watch videos. That's it. They don't express their opinion. They don't type like we do. I think that's a serious problem that we can solve, right, with the languages and all that, and which can transform e-commerce as a sector, because then you will get to know what are they searching for actually. Probably you don't know what to sell to them because they don't talk to you. I mean, just a thought that I had right now.
I hope, is there any other question?
Hi, I'm Dr. Bhatia. So I was actually a bit surprised by your question that what is it that is building for Bharat? Because to be honest, there is a whole lot of lag on the basics. So whether it's healthcare delivery, whether it is availability of X-ray ultrasound centers, same number of women get pregnant, but they don't have access to ultrasonography. And if there is an ultrasound machine, there is lack of electricity, irregular hours, running, drinking water, and even basics of clean food. These things are definitely not available as yet. I mean, some of the villages, especially I've seen in some of the better organized South Indian governments have worked much better with their villages, but you go back north and electricity itself still a luxury. So when they say build for Bharat, I have funded a company which was building medicine delivery for Bharat, and the basic thing was that the simple drugs, which can be life-saving drugs, are available at a distance of like 1.5 hours or 2 hours, and so somebody may say they are available, but they're not readily available. So that itself is a big challenge. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all. Have a good afternoon.
As we conclude this enriching panel discussion, we would like to take a moment to express our appreciation to our moderator and panelists for such invaluable insights. I now invite Mr. Anup Tarafdar to kindly present the memento to our moderator and panelists.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for making it this time. Thank you so much. Come towards left.
And with that, we conclude this segment. Stay tuned, there's much more to come as we continue exploring the vibrant world of startups and innovation here at Startup Expo. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dia, and welcome to Startup Expo at AIGNITE 2025. I hope you're all enjoying the event so far. We've come to an incredible innovations and insights today. And now, we move into one of our most anticipated sessions of the day, our panel discussion titled Made in India, Powered by AI, Going Global Without Borders. This session is about how Indian-born companies are leveraging artificial intelligence, building globally, breaking the boundaries, and marking their mark on the world stage. I am delighted to introduce our moderator for this session, Dr. Saurabh Bhatia, CEO of Quanti Quarters Ventures. Dr. Bhatia is not just a tech enthusiast, but also a highly qualified doctor with degrees in MBBS, MS, FRC, and MBA. He is a health tech, AI visionary, combining his medical training with deep business acumen. He has spent many years working in health tech innovation, empowering medical professionals through AI, and writing about the convergence of healthcare and technology. Adding to his thought leadership, he is a prolific author of 11 books, sharing his knowledge and shaping the future of healthcare. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm welcome to the man who is literally prescribing a healthier future through AI, Dr. Saurabh Bhatia. And now, I'd like to introduce a leader who is democratizing the power of software creation. Please welcome our first panelist, Mr. Aditya S. Prabhakara, founder-director of MakeLoop Technology Labs. Mr. Prabhakara brings over 2 decades of experience building and scaling technology-driven businesses in India and abroad. At MakeLoop, he focuses on empowering citizen developers by providing AI-based low-code, no-code platforms, making innovation accessible and enabling terms globally to build smarter, faster solutions. His work is a great example of building for global relevance from India. He is described by former colleagues as the thorough engineer who always understands the big picture, maintaining a high quality of work while being a fantastic team player. Please welcome Mr. Aditya S. Prabhakara. Now, I hand it over to my co-host, Riya, who will continue introducing our esteemed speakers for the session. Over to you, Riya.
Thank you, Dia. Good afternoon once again, everyone. I'm Riya, and it's an absolute honor to continue this exciting session, Made in India, Powered by AI, Going Global Without Borders. Our second panelist is Dr. Anita Prasad. Dr. Anita Prasad is an accomplished technologist, serial and entrepreneur, and an inspiring voice in India's deep tech ecosystem. She's a co-founder and the CEO of Vistar Robotics Private Limited, where she leads groundbreaking works in robotics, automation, drones, and wearable exoskeleton technologies, all designed, engineered, and manufactured in India. Her innovation focuses on making robotics accessible for both industrial and social impact applications, empowering differently abled and redefining how human-machine collaborations can uplift societies. Beyond her entrepreneurial success, Dr. Prasad is a thought leader, STEM advocate, and mentor for women in technology. Her research, advocacy, and leadership has made her sought-after voice in discussion on inclusive innovation and AI for good. She perfectly embodies the spirit of Indian integrity with global purpose. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Anita Prasad. Finally, completing this incredible lineup, we have Mr. Ramalingeshwara Rao KV, the founder of NIRM, a Bengaluru-based business venture startup known for crafting AI-powered, Indian-origin solutions with global potentials. He had filed AI patents in 2014 and got granted in 2023. Mr. Raman is a passionate entrepreneur who believes in building locally to serve globally. Under his leadership, NIRM has been pioneering innovative products that harness AI and emerging technologies to drive digital transformation across sector. Notably, NIRM's LandKeys, a patent multipurpose natural language processing tool, exemplifying their commitment and bridging communication gaps and enhancing accessibility. The medicine, Rampress, was also one of his contributions. He's also a startup mentor for empowering Indian startups and move beyond borders, nurturing ecosystem with research, innovation, and real-world application go hand in hand. His work is a perfect example for how Indian-born startup can stand tall on the world stage by focusing on technology, scalability, and sustainability. Please put your hands together for Mr. Ramalingeshwara Rao, KV. So without any further ado, let's dive into the discussion. Mr. Bhatia, the stage is yours.
Thank you. I think we are only 3 panelists now. Thanks for everyone who stayed till now. It's been a long day. So the topic for this particular panel discussion is Made in India, powered by AI, going global without borders. So slightly similar to what it was in the last session. I was not able to really make out a difference. But here, the panel of experts that we have is different and differently qualified. So we have Dr. Anita Prasad from Westac Robotics, who brings deep expertise in robotics, hardware, and industrial automation. Secondly, there's Aditya, who's the founder of Make Loop Technology Labs, and he makes AI-enabled products in the edtech space. And third, we have Ramalingeshwara Rao. He's the founder of NIRM with multiple patents in image processing, AI, machine learning, NLP, and text-to-speech technologies. So we'll be doing the discussion in 25 minutes. We have 4 themes. The first theme is Made in India Foundation, the R&D and talent. Now, we have had a long discussion all through this day about what India is doing, what is AI for Bharat, and what are we doing. So we are going to start with Dr. Anita Prasad. Anita, you have worked a lot in Germany, and you are now building robotics and hardware in India. So what is the core advantage that you find doing R&D in India for deep tech?
Certainly, thank you. I think one is the resources. We have enough engineers, very young, audible? Better, yeah. So we have enough engineers, we have good talent pool, mentorable, and then we have wonderful government schemes, lot of things, lot of plus, if you look at it. So there is a big wave that is coming ahead. So if at all we are looking at innovating something, yes, there is a very big possibility today that we can stand and say, okay, this is your idea, this is my business case, and I want to bring it forward. I want to go ahead. So this is a very big plus as of today that I see personally that this is a possibility. And even at a very low cost for startups. So this is a very big advantage in my opinion. But of course, India, I can say, it's not for beginners. World has to have the maturity from India, right? So there are 2 different topics. And if I look at it, there are definitely, various class of people that we are looking forward to address to. Not everybody are going to be coming into this. So very, very important. And different class of people that could be engaged themselves in a primary sector, secondary sector, and the tertiary sector. How much AI has impacted the world population is mainly in terms of the tertiary sector employment or employable people, and the secondary sector to certain amount of automation. The primary sector, again, we are coming in terms of drones and automating some farming equipments and so on and so forth. To some extent, we are talking about automation, but completely transforming lives and the kind of the generative AI going to come and do that kind of revolution and so on and so forth, and America taking over the entire world, or somebody who is in the race of GPT business or something else, South Korea, China. I think, there's a long way to go. That I can say that. But yes, I mean, India has its own uniqueness. As you heard from various other speakers now, we have deep-rooted culture and Sanatana Dharma, which you really cannot get into. Even we ourselves don't know, we cannot go into. And the second topic is, see, if at all we are so clever and our wonderful models can really resolve so many other topics, we as humanity are not able to create that kind of a biosphere today where we can see ourselves habitable. We are talking about terraforming some other planet and going away, and these bots are going to help. Very, very long way to go. We are yet to witness any sort of things in that direction. So I think, we have enough opportunity. That's what I feel like. Our young India has many amount of opportunity, and as the other panelists pointed out, we need to channelize ourselves in the right space. Thank you.
Thanks, Sunita. I think that's a good segue about channelizing it in the right space. So, Aditya, I'll carry that question to you, that do you think we are training the right set of people in India, and is the training the right kind of training to be given in this AI ML enabled world now?
Yeah. Okay, hello. Yeah. So I was introduced as a doctor, but I need to correct that. I'm only in the company of doctors. I chose engineering. Looking at my handwriting, my parents thought I would become a doctor, but life didn't take me that way. Okay, so coming to the question there, we run a company which builds AI-enabled products. So for me, as a company, there is also a responsibility that we are also in the business of building careers. So what I mean by that is, the first people in a company who can pick up AI would be people who have the learnability skills in the company itself. Many a times, throwing opportunities at them and them giving areas of learning for them is enough for them to pick up AI and start contributing. So most of the team with me has been with me for more than 5 years. So they have picked up AI even though they did not come from AI training per se. Okay. But then now I also visit a couple of colleges and talk about AI and how to pick AI up while you are learning. A lot of courses have already come up, even in engineering, wherein they say it's an engineering in computer science, AI. All these courses are very well tuned to build commoditized engineers. So what I mean by that is, so if there is a job opening for 200 people who can do AI, then these kind of courses can fill the slot. But then when it comes to the current state of AI and its implementation, a lot of it, many of them don't know what they're doing. Even we don't know a lot of things that we are doing. And today in one of the early morning sessions, we had somebody stating that there are a lot of POCs, but 95% of the POCs are being checked out, right? So that's the reality of today's AI implementation. And when that is the case, more than the skill for us, we need people who want to experiment. We need people who are analytical. We need people who are enterprising, if not entrepreneurial. But those are the things that can't be taught. It's a lot of behavioral trait. And at least you have to be in the team which exhibits these behaviors. And then you can start to inculcate those behaviors. So that is the current AI implementation. But a large part of what we do, it also has AI and its hype is very, very recent. But then a large part of what we do also has good old machine learning in it. Yeah. So when it comes to machine learning, it's a lot of skill. You can skill people in it. You have to be good at math. You have to be good at analytics. You have to be good at observing data, and you can skill it. So that part of it, we are able to skill very easily. But that part which uses AI, because we are at a very high abstraction level, and to understand why AI gave something out. That's called as reasoning in AI. To understand the reasoning, tweak the AI so that it fits the boundaries that we want to do. That has been a challenge in the skilling things. So maybe today we are all trying it out in how to skill. But then I think a few years down the line we'll have better answers. As and when, the reason also is because when we built software, software gave us a lot of predictability. So when you knew these are my finances, it would always spit out some kind of a tax calculation for you, which was undisputable. And if there was any problem, you can always go and figure out why that problem happened. But now with AI, agentic AI, and that bringing in some kind of decision, when you make decision autonomy with AI, so then explaining that decision becomes a very difficult thing. And there we need a lot more people who are very observational, who are very analytical. So just looking at the superficial responses, you should be able to dig a little deeper. I think that's a skill that through working you can get. Very difficult to inculcate as a subject as such, I think.
So thanks a lot for that, Aditya. Moving ahead, from the previous sessions, the message that we got, as well as what our Minister Piyush Goyal also mentioned, India is either good at making those Zeptos or something and delivering ice cream, or we are good at just building wrappers around OpenAI, and out of that 95% gets trashed or outdated. So if we want to follow this, that going global without borders and made in India but a global AI, then how do you see the go-to-market playbook here? Because we are not really known as exporters of AI, to be honest. China is already known, but not us. So how do you see the go-to-market strategies here?
So, So for us, I will actually want to put, if something is located in India, and if you want to do a GTM for the world, I'll put it in 3 buckets, basically. So one is the legal, governance, financial bucket. Other is the technology bucket. And the third one is the marketing and sales bucket. Right? So I feel in the legal, governance, financial bucket, we still have, even though we have a lot of ways in which we can release a product for the world and then somebody can pay from anywhere in the world, but getting money into India is still not very, very simple. So there are a lot of hurdles, because for somebody who is wanting to pay through a gateway, payment gateway of India from Australia, he is shown an RBI guideline. Okay. So now I can't expect somebody sitting in Australia to understand what RBI is. Okay. So a lot of companies overcome this by having local entities within those countries which collect payment. Okay. So that is still a hurdle, getting payment into India, and the legal and the compliance aspects of it. And then the part 2 is the platform or the technology aspect of it. There are a lot of patterns which are solving this platform access, as in now somebody coming from US need to be shown a different structure of payment, different subscription. Somebody coming from US need to be shown a different data privacy guidelines. So if somebody is accessing my platform from UK, his data has to reside within UK. So there is the localization of data there. So technology platforms have some way through the cloud solved a few aspects of it. Now coming to the third one, the marketing of it. Thanks to Meta, the digital marketing platforms, Google, so a lot of demographic targeting is solved. So even though you build strategies at a global level, but targeting to each segment of the demographics, you need to have a local, hyper-local messaging when it comes to the marketing. And that's what has worked for us also. For that matter, even though we have customers from around the world, but then when we run our ads, for example, if we are targeting Tamil Nadu demographics, our ads literally says website launch panna redina for Tamil Nadu, for example. And for Karnataka, we say website launch ge redina. So there needs to be some localization in your actual messaging that you do. I think Zomato does it very well. India is many worlds in one world. So if you look at Zomato ads from different regions. They have different ads going out. So the technology aspect of it is done, but the messaging aspect has to be very carefully targeted while looking at GTM. So solving these three triangle at different varying expertise will actually help us reach out better.
So thanks, Aditya. Actually, I'll also like to ask Ram about this same thing, that if we see globally, healthcare has had some impact in showcasing India as a destination for healthcare tourism. A lot of people from Western world come to India for healthcare. Plus, healthcare technology, also the adoption is pretty fast in India compared to the US one. So since you have so many patents and you have so much research in healthcare AI imaging, I would like to know from you, what is your thought about projecting the kind of work that you have done for the global scale, taking the health tech SaaS to global scale?
Yeah. First of all, many thanks for giving this opportunity. I completed my PhD in computer science PhD in image processing, document image processing, OCR, optical character recognition. That is pattern recognition. And also, I filed 2 patents in language through a product. Is a patented multipurpose NLP tool. NLP, AI, text-to-speech, and also transliteration. That is the combination. My second patent is in AI. In 2014, I filed. That is granted in 23. So, during my entrepreneurship journey with NSRCL is the incubation center in IAMB. I have invented a medicine also, that is Ramras, preventive protection from cold and cough. Generally, cold and cough are neglected diseases. I am giving preventive protection in a herbal way. So, I filed a patent also. So, out of 3 patents, 1 is granted, 2 other published. First patent is in WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization. So, during this entire process, came to know that our information technology and healthcare products can grow globally. That is in a proper way. There are many startups are coming. Even in NSRCL, many startups are getting incubated. So, we are developing great platform in case of startups. Earlier, if you observe, many people are IT from our nation Bharat. Now, startups are getting more. Even now, our position in worldwide, 3rd position. We are very near to 2nd position. So, number of startups are getting. So, when startups are improving, the products is currently our net technology, internet technology is making easy for global business. Currently, we are easily connecting in LinkedIn. And also, incubation centers are working to bring experts from different countries to give seminar. In IMB, if you observe, every month minimum 4 or 5 research-related seminars will be there. And NSRCL also inviting many experts from different countries to give seminars. And also, every education institute now having the incubation center. For example, Agriculture University, there is a C camp. IIIT Bengaluru, there is an innovation center. Narayana Hrudalaya, there is a MSMF TBA. These incubator centers are making seminars to understand the complete startup process to the people. So, when we are moving to business, growing globally, patent is the best way to secure your business idea. In the filing the patent, there will be a process. First, we will meet the patent advocate, then they will verify, they do the verification. Next, prior access, that is called. Next, they file the patent. Next stage is the patent get published and attending the exam. Next, patent will be granted. That is the process. So, when we are protecting your business idea, and also when we are trying to make a business, your patent is already helping you to stand strongly at startup area. So that is the very helpful concept to grow globally through patent process.
So thanks a lot for that, Ram. Just as an extension of that, so I have been involved with a few patents via another company in US, and we found the process to be prohibitively expensive for an Indian person to file global patent. I mean, I can file an Indian patent, still it's within reach, but having a global patent, especially in healthcare area and filing it in US or European countries, what do you think? Is it really feasible for startups to do that?
Very good question. In fact, while going for globally, we should file a patent in Bharat. That is the precaution. First, we need to file a patent in Bharat. Next, we need to file in WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization. That is called PCT. That is very expensive. But filing is Bharat is not too much expensive. That government fees is very, very nominal. Only thing is you need to pay to your advocate. There are many advocates are there in our every city, Bengaluru city, many city. So you can approach with them. First, if you file a patent in Bharat, you are mostly secure. I mean, your business idea is mostly secure. When going to global, you have a recognition already in Bharat that will helpful to you make collaboration with different companies globally at any country. That is one help. When I filed the first patent, my understanding about patent is, I asked my patent advocate, is it patentable? That is my understanding. So they done the prior art sets. Finally, they said it is patentable. So I went through them, technical person, and they are advocate, means legal advocates in patent. So when I went through them, I first filed the provisional. Next year, we filed the non-provisional. During this patent process only, I got to know filing second patent. So next time I met them, I said, I have another business idea. It can be patentable. They asked me, how can you say that? I said, that is the learning I got from you. During 1 year, I worked with you. So that is when people went through that process, they will learn a lot of things. That will helpful to grow globally. That will helpful to grow globally. So, you know, right? Education always helpful to you. Filing patent is also kind of research. This is also kind of education. It definitely helpful to you.
So one message we are getting is that if we are innovating something, we should try to get it patented as early as possible.
First priority.
Got it. Thanks a lot for that, Ram. My next question is for Anita. Anita, your expertise is in robotics, and the theme today is AI. And I also feel that robotics is one area which can be beautifully operated or controlled using AI. So from your experience, especially transitioning from German market to Indian market, what is your experience about amalgamating these two fields and making them work together in India?
I guess, see, this is a very valid and important topic for us to address, and especially for the younger India, whoever are looking forward for this particular startup and startup culture and way ahead and so on and so forth. Firstly, our Indian culture says, we have an idea, fantastic, great. We just want to realize, we want to bring it onto the table, great, fantastic. Go ahead, build your business. Now, we are coming a little bit more into the depth angle into this. Number one, you need the legal infrastructure. You need some real activities to be done, including the investors, right? Everyone will have to work hand to hand. Do we have this? We have a threat. This idea is taken away, introduced, hook or crook. You want to bring this in local market. These kind of things happen. without any control today, right? So this is all there. And we also have a fear not to disclose anything. Even though we have a non-disclosure NCNDS, doesn't help. Now, coming into the kind of business angle, when we are talking about the local business itself, there are several certifications that we need to do. It could be a product, then, the product is used for what? So we have various certifications to that particular hardware itself, including the lithium ion, etc., and the Bluetooth connectivity, right? So nobody does all these things. They just go on. In China, in similar fashion, we find HSN, TSN, no registrations, but those are all products that exist, and that's been sold across China, and we are very, very fascinated. We just go there. Look, China is doing all these activities, right? How much are they, really fall under that kind of ethical development itself, in my question mark, right? So, and then tomorrow, they are coming and then saying, okay, if I lose my reputation today, tomorrow will you come back to me saying that Anita is trustworthy, go and get certain products from Anita? No, I don't. I'm not rendering a service here to somebody and pushing the responsibility over to them. I'm still in a product business or another application business. So if it is an application, then I have my own regulations that I need to meet with. The data protection regulations, and so on and so forth, the privacy. And then when I'm going in the international market, GDPR comes into the play. So many headache. And then overall about this, copyrights, and you have, the trademark registrations, again, coming in conflict. We have several other subjects, guarantee, warranty, 14-day buyback guarantees. You can't even imagine what we will have to be ready with. So if I summarize the amount of investment that may be required for a startup, there is no startup here. It has to be a matured business model, right? So this is what we want to recall them and rebadge them. And India will have to form all these things, because when we have so many compliances to be met, we have so many initiatives to be met, we still don't have that kind of a governance. What are we producing? And then are we really anticipating that particular business and the business model to be successful? Right? These are something which we need to watch out very carefully. And when we come into that kind of a model, is investor ready? Is he the greed and the fear? Is he operating on that particular model? Is he wanting to make his money, run away tomorrow morning, 20x, 50x? No, it doesn't happen. You need to provide that enough time. And most importantly, we feel this is a marketable particular topic, marketable product, marketable application, marketable something else. Tomorrow when we go to the global market, we are exposed to all sorts of challenges. Are we ready to face such things? So this calls for an extensive research before we enter and go global, right? So we need to prove our maturity, European Union certifications, CE certifications, American certifications, 110 things, right? Let it be a gadget. So are we ready for all of them? This is my question mark. And that is where we as India collectively start focusing, and that is another area where the businesses are opportunities opening up, and that is something where we all need to stand united to achieve a higher number into this.
Thanks for that, Anita. I was also wondering if you could give a little bit of a comment on the readiness of the VC community to take the kind of risk that, for example, a driverless car in US has been in the making for a good about 15 years, and only in last few years have they become a kind of partial reality. But a lot of VC money and lot of investments from both career perspective as well as time perspective has gone into that. But do you see India also on the cusp of that readiness where VC is willing to take that kind of risk for you to build a robot controlled by AI and delivering something without human beings being present? So how do you find that? You had mentioned earlier that in India resources are available, and it is cheaper compared to the West to do the work. But then are you getting adequate support from the VC community?
See, in India, most of the activities here we need to reckon is that we have underemployment, right? So when we are looking at this kind of a problem, we also have the same thing, the literacy issue in the investors community. And when we are facing this kind of a crisis, this requires a little bit of remodeling. For example, when I take Germany or European Union, we have LUFO programs. You know, we just write proposal, we get some money to experiment, we get this particular product to build, and then maybe I go to BMW or somebody else, I say, hey guys, take my application and this is ready to be implemented, and anyway I have so-and-so money available from the government, and I'm producing it and I'm bringing onto your table. So thereby I'm experimenting, I'm learning with the live example, and the kind of maturity that I get, a podium like this, I'll be afraid to sit and discuss because it will be full of technicality and practicality. We are not going to sit and blabber like this, right? But when we are coming into an Indian market, we have so much of ignorance, so much of arrogance. We don't want to learn. We just want to be there. We just want to go. This is a major issue. And then we are coming with the investor. They want tomorrow morning, they feel the IT business, which happened 30 years ago, 40 years ago, that probably multiplied. That was in services business. We could do everything other than cleaning somebody else's toilet. Sorry to say this. That has been the sales activity. Even I used to do that many, many years ago. And this is something what we really are irritated with, and this is what we want to change, the new India with a new dimension. If so, this calls for a very, very serious venture capitalists, very serious investors, let's say the seed capital providers, etc., with a lot more maturity so that this works in hand. This doesn't happen over a period, on the spot. Somebody says Zoho, they take an example of Zoho. Everything, look, Aratai is coming, they did that, they did this. Why do you want to do this? Every business is not like that. That got successful for whatever reason. But if I'm trying to come with some serious business, when I'm trying to help, for example, I have a product that helps the knee pain, or, it'll make somebody who's bedridden stand up. So several other medical products also, along with that farming equipments and several other subjects, including, for example, something like Aratai, right? I have various markets to address. And when I'm going and then talking to somebody, they hardly understand. Why do you need this money? So this is the serious issue. And if I'm going to government, that is a different subject altogether. And I don't want to dilute myself, because they don't understand anything from the startup culture, right? So when we have so much of problem, firstly, this requires an immediate attention. And that is what I call upon.
So I think we have found a new idea for a startup, and that is VC education. So we can have a startup for VC education now. Thanks a lot for your candor, Anita. I'll ask for the last question to Aditya now. Aditya, you have built a platform which claims to become the citizens development platform, right? Yeah. So your platform is actually even at a higher level than a vibe coding platform. So I want to ask you that with this platform having global implications, how are you planning to take it to the global market? Because it's an AI-based platform, it's made in India, and you have to fight the big wigs of likes of OpenAIs and Googles to put your platform as a superior solution to coding. So how do you plan to do that?
For us, the best thing about internet is the source doesn't really matter unless somebody really digs in. So if there is a problem that we are solving, and then if the product is mature enough, if the product is clean enough in terms of bugs, defects, quality, and stuff like that, then somebody picking it up and using it across the world is not a challenge. The challenge only comes from the mindset. So we find it very easy for somebody in the Scandinavian country and somebody in US to pick and use our product a lot more easily. Whereas in India, even an educated entrepreneur will still call us and say, hey, you do it for me, I will pay you. Right? So for us, that way, I think taking it to the global market and asking somebody else to test it and use it has not been really that difficult for us to get it, as long as we hit the right segment. And as he said, what we are trying to do is we are trying to build a platform where citizen developers can build applications, and we are doing it a little differently. Today you might have heard a lot of apps trying to do the same thing, trying to say the same thing. So when you start using our application, the differences will stand out in terms of we want to make our users think at an integration level and not think at a design level. So if they want a feature to be there, that feature should come in and it should be maintainable in the future too. So that way, but we have also roadmapped it out so that we can test out a lot of things early, either fail or pivot or tweak along the way. So we are just 15 days into the market. We are seeing some traction, but our roadmap is a 2-year roadmap. So at least by the end of an year, we should be at a place where we can generically build full-fledged applications and maintain it in a very easy way. So yeah, along the way, the world is our test bed.
Thanks a lot for that, Aditya.
Can I add one more sentence? I think there are several applications and products and startups and so many efforts coming over on the table. My sincere request, probably a takeaway from this to everybody and the government of India probably, I think we need to start listing them and having a library created for these kind of information, because this is very important. Who did what? There could be something which we may have done, anybody might have done, in competition to something somebody did in America and that has got success story. And if we are in a position to take it up and revive and build for our own, and don't say that, okay, America or somebody else is my friend and my prime minister is going every day and having dining with them. No, I think this is a very important subject. We need to follow Swadesha Swadharma and Swabhimana. I don't know, Samskruti, if this is allowed, and we'll have to follow this and try to imbibe this particular culture into this system, deep root out, and that is what is very important for a startup culture, to cut off the kind of heavy influences that would come from the West, and that is a big threat for our younger generation. And often I feel that younger generation is, I just go to a deep jungle and talking to a herd of deers who are not even humans. They don't even understand. They just look at her. Who's this guy? I'm sorry. That is the situation, and we are not able to communicate. And we can't get them to an offline event like this. They all are on Discord. They are mewing on Discord. I'm sorry.
Thanks for that, Anita. I think that is the lesson we should have learned when they started saying that Edmund Hillary was the first person to climb Everest, but we didn't learn it, and now we think that a white man came and climbed Everest for the first time. But anyhow, with this, I'll open the forum for audience questions. Are there any questions? If none, then I would like to thank everybody and Anup and his team for giving us the opportunity to have this panel discussion here. Thanks a lot, everyone, and thanks for your time.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much to our brilliant panelists for sharing their invaluable insights, and to our amazing audience for being such an endangered and enthusiastic part of today's discussion. It's truly inspiring to see how innovation in India is global and changing industries. Now, to express our gratitude and appreciation, I'd like to invite Dr. Anup Tarafdar to please come forward and present the mementos to our esteemed guests.
continue our journey of thought-provoking conversation, it's time to shift our focus to one of the most defining topics of our era. Who owns the future? The AI talent war. Artificial intelligence is no more a long-distance dream. It's shaping industries, redefining skills, and rewriting the rules of competition. The real question today isn't just about technology. It's about the people who will lead this revolution, who truly owns the future of AI. To explore these crucial questions, we have an outstanding panel lined up. Leading this discussion, our moderator, Mr. Amit Nath, a chartered CMO business communicator, a creator of RISE ecosystem. He is a distinguished speaker, investor, and a lifelong learner known for his work in empowering brands and leaders through Joining him are three exceptional panelists: Ms. Megha Mishra, CEO, Brand and Strategies, with deep expertise in marketing, corporate communication, and strategic partnership. She has led multiple initiatives driving client acquisition, brand loyalty, and organizational growth. Welcome, ma'am. Next, we have Mr. Kiran Kumar Shetty, Executive Director at Bendigo Bank, recognized for his leadership in digital transformation, artificial intelligence, and global delivery. His work continues to shape the evolution of technology-driven organization worldwide. Welcome, sir. Next, we have Mr. Balaji Rajendran, Group CEO and founder of SoftRate, a public speaker, startup investor, and thought leader with strong expertise in entrepreneurship, design thinking, and executive leadership. Welcome, sir. Together, they will explore how organizations, talent, and innovation are converging to shape the future of AI. Let's begin the session, moderated by Dr. Amit Nath.
Very good evening, everyone. I know the timing is amazing. It's just started, and we are full of josh and energy to help everyone understand some of the craziest stuff which is going to happen. And by the way, let me also introduce a little bit about the amazing panelists that we have today. And it is a very, I'll say, a pattern interrupt of the panelists that we have. We have got somebody who is an investor and an entrepreneur. We have got somebody who is into deep training, mentoring, and strategies. We have got somebody who is into high level of data structures and multiple other things as an entrepreneur running an AI industry. We have got some crazy questions coming up. And we will try to see that you guys are steamed up once we are almost in the mid of this entire thing. So I thought the best thing would be to speak last. So my name is Dr. Amit. I'll be the moderator for this entire session. And so we have a kind of a small idea that I wanted to share with you, because I think that's one of the concepts that we will be talking today. So the first thing that I would like to introduce you to is a small abbreviation of a word called as RESPECT, R-E-S-P-E-C-T. And that starts with result, efficiency, S stands for skill, R-E-S-P, P stands for passion, E stands for exposure and experiences, and the last one is more of commitment and talent. So the first word is respect. So before I start asking the questions to the panelists, this is the question to the entire audience here. Do you think it is wise to start with results? Is the result is directly connected to the word called as respect? Hello? Yeah? If you have result, I think this is what is more required is the proof. So with that, I would like to introduce the entire panelists here. And I would like to first start with Balaji, who is not only just an investor, but an entrepreneur as well. Balaji, welcome.
Thank you.
Let's understand this. Maybe I can just go one by one to understand what is the best result that you have got. Then we can connect to the entire topic about your AI and your exposure and experiences here.
Yeah, good. Fine. To start with, right now we launched a new product, which is like, it's the world's first AI startup doctor. So in the previous panel, we have seen a lot of things related to AI, ethics, business, and legal. So, and nobody talked about there is no tool actually, wherever you go, apart from MCA portal for the government, there is no tool. For that also we need to pay for each data and download those data and work on. But as a new entrepreneurs or a new startup people don't have any awareness about these type of things and all. So I can say we build that product, which is very new, and this is, I can proudly say, this is world's first built in India for Indians.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'll come back to you on that. So the next question is to Megha. Megha has been, I'll say, she has been talking about a lot of things lately, and currently she is also a mentor and a coach to multiple founders and entrepreneurs. Anything that you can share about some of the amazing proof and results that you have got along with AI, then we'll talk about the talent part.
Hi, everybody. So if I were to say that your conversions increase by 47%, your cost of acquisition goes down by 53%, and the productivity of the current team doubles. Would that sound like a good, nice humming song in the ears? So yeah, that's how, AI has helped us. So what I do is basically I help entrepreneurs and founders to scale their business from X to 10X using AI and soul. That is the differentiator. So it's not only working with the AI tech stack, but also working with mine. I think a lot has been said by the panelists, before me, and they talk about culture and behavior coming from the Indian scriptures. And this is something which is what we have been following in Brandon Strategies when we mentor founders, that the results is all about using AI with relevance, with conscience, with passion. So that's...
Thank you. So we have Kiran also with us, and Kiran is a data strategist and a startup entrepreneur as well, and has amazing expertise on multiple things internationally as well. So one of the great results and the proof that you would like to share with us today.
I'm a strategic global leader in data, AI, and digital transformation. In my current role at Bendigo Bank as executive director, so we were able to showcase around $100 million business outcome, and which is almost like a 35% on the return on investment. So we were able to achieve that because we look at AI is not just a technology transformation. We looked at AI as a technology which enables business processes, basically so how we can improve the customer experience, customer journey, and then employee productivity, and then operational efficiency, whatnot. So we look at instead of automating the regular repetitive tasks, we look at as a system, how we can bring the business outcome in the end-to-end value chain. So by doing this, we are able to achieve enormous business outcome.
Okay, great. So we have just seen that the different kind of proof that we are talking about. I think that sets the background of the panelists we are here. All of us have got some of the amazing results utilizing or on the other side of experiential learning. So I'll again go back to Kiran first to talk about what is the, now you have told me some of the pointers that you are solving right now with your strategic enterprises as well. Can you give me some ideas before we go to the AI concept part of it? What was the biggest challenges and the problems that was there? And utilizing your efficiency along with the new AI thing that was talking about in your journey that we had spoken. Can you just throw some light on that first?
Yeah, sure. So usually most of the enterprise, I mean, probably like I would like to say that across the globe, the 75 to 80% of the CEOs have said that they are not yet ready for the AI transformation journey, or they were not able to succeed. It's just because of they always looked at the technology, and also they don't have the very strong data foundation, because many of the panelists in the previous sessions, they have said that the garbage in, garbage out, that is 100% true. You need to have very strong data foundation. For that, we need to have very strong data governance in place. So earlier, most of the enterprises, they used to think that data, governance on the data is just a fancy thing, or maybe for the sake of having it, but it's no more, because almost in my experience, almost at least in Australia, so it was driven by the regulatory and compliance called APRA. So we started implementing the enterprise data governance in a very very stringent manner, and then we made it we had a very strong data maturity. So because of that, we were able to succeed. So there are a couple of things very important. So when you want to achieve data and AI centric in terms of enterprises,
right.
So it's basically you need to have a very strong data. So and then your technology is AI, and then you need to, because it's always related to the people. So you need to have the people, and then at the end of the day, we're going to automate the processes, business processes, more intelligent way. So when we align these dimensions, the parameters data, technology, people, process, and the last one is you need to make that as a in a culture that's very important. So because any transformation, you can't say you're succeeded. In that transformation journey, unless it is adapted by the people, right? So you need to make it as a cultural shift.
Thank you so much, Kiran. So you mentioned about some of the powerful 5 pointers that I think the last word was on people and culture, and I think that's an area where Megha plays a beautiful role, being as somebody who is connecting the technology, the people, the culture. Megha, would you like to share some of your experiences on the current trends that is happening, and where you and the process and the services that you work with, how does it work?
Yeah. So I think AI is definitely an asset. Depends on how we use it. Prompt engineering became a very big thing, or 3 to 4 years back, that everybody was jumping the gun. But how do we write the prompts? How do we train the prompts? People to use the prompts. So coming to your specific question, how does all these things wire together? See, what I've found is that businesses, while working with founders, I work with founders who scale their businesses at least till a certain level. So it's basically 4 to 5 years in the business. And then from there, from X to 10X, they get stuck because referrals stop coming. Organically, the growth has stopped. So what do they do next? The problem that they suffer with is that when they employ agencies or, some people, marketers and this thing, the feedback that has been given that they don't understand how to implement and how to measure this thing. How do they measure the outcome? Because they have never done it. They are first generation entrepreneurs, and largely the people that I work with are the techies. And they don't know how to implement those things. So there is a roadblock, there's a mind block, the measurability is not there. They know how to use create. If I say create a chatbot, it will be created. But what is the behavior of the chatbot? What are the kind of questions you have to ask? What is the kind of email you have to send? And then how do you address people? Communication is very, very, is a topic that has to be taken very seriously, because North India, South India, East India, West India differs in communication. Like a lot of people in the panels before have said about the language differentiation. So it has to relate with the audience from their mind. So that's why, you know, the soul comes into the picture. So the whole idea is that we have to create that funnel of chasing the people from top of the funnel to middle of the funnel to bottom of the funnel using different, you know, AI tech stack, but it also has culture and behavior imbibed into it, and use that communication using NLP as well.
Right. I think you have touched upon a lot of things. There is a saying, beautiful saying, that when you look at a barren land, a normal person looks at a barren land as a barren land, correct? But when you look at somebody who is a visionary, he can look at, might be a multi-storied building, might be an apartment, might be an industry, might be a tech park or a whatever. And I think these are people who call us the visionaries. And there are people who trust these visionaries. They fund them, they support them. And I think we have somebody with us who is also somebody who is also helping a lot of people in this domain. And I'm having Balaji here, all the way from Chennai. So Balaji, you have talked about your, you know, the result that you have got. I would like you to also talk about when you start investing, when you start different entrepreneurs, you will look at as an investor, you know, who is actually taking the risk.
Yep.
Yeah. What are the areas that you actually see, and how AI can help you to have this predictive mindset as an investor on something which is just changing every, you know, couple of days?
Right. Fine. So to start with, I can say myself as a, you know, born visionary, I can say, because, you know,
I like that word, born visionary.
yeah. Whatever the thing I do, I used to see in a lens like I can do something, you know, different, or this thing can be done in a very different way, like that. But people with a fixed mindset, oh, this and all not workable, or we couldn't able to do this. They are simply pessimist. But I used to be very optimistic, even when the situation is not in favor of me. So I can say, and I used to see this sort of perspective with anyone, whomever I speak with. So, and as an investor, as the right question, and when I invest in any startup, because I have a lot of experience in startups. Actually, I'm running 3 different companies, which is from 3 different industries, actually. So, and for that knowledge and a lot of awareness and all, like I used to see someone, those who have a very great vision and those who have the capability of doing that. Because some people have only the vision and they couldn't able to do that. So maybe they can hire someone, but nowadays AI is with us, right? Yeah. So even if one person can do, that is a OPC, that one person can do a billion-dollar company. That's even possible today. So that is how even we don't have any proper skill set. Visionary is the first important thing. That's the core important thing I can say. Then we can slowly learn stuffs. Then we can implement, pitch the idea, and get funding. Lot of things. Because as per my perspective, there is not even a single barrier to start a new thing or to work on a different thing. So that is what from my end I can give you a real insight. Because if someone is really thinking of doing something and keep pausing the time, they can even start just like that. For example, like creating a logo and start a company. Then they can figure out it and they can move forward. Then opportunities will open the door and they can be a very big thing. This is one of my experience I can say. Yeah.
So I just put one word. There is a word, you can exploit the ChatGPT and AI now to give hundreds and millions of permutation combinations of it. But the question again drives to it. Should we trust it? Is a gut feeling? Even though you have all the analysis, all the numbers, all the data. And that's the question I would like to connect back to Kiran, who has been a data expert here. So with that, you spoke about the 5 dimensions, right? And I think very nicely we have all connected this. I would like you to also tell us a little bit more about how are you integrating all these things with your existing organization, and how is it beneficial when it comes to the AI talent that we have been talking about?
I think he has connected those dots already. So you need to have a proper vision. The enterprise should have a good vision, and then your goals and objectives should be aligned to your vision, right? So as I said before, you need to look at this as a system. So just by having a goal, it doesn't work, right? You need to make that as a system, right? So for example, So some of the use cases, like, I would like to give an example. Like, so we were able to achieve end-to-end on a lending business process, all the way from, making an application, and then identity assessment, and the risk assessment, and then credit check, whatnot. So earlier it used to take like more than 2 to 3 weeks of time. Now it has come down to like in a couple of hours of time. So by doing this, like, it improved a lot of credibility and then the satisfaction with the customer, right? And also some of the other, for example, we have a AI-driven customer experience in the customer care. Like basically, like there are a lot of repetitive tasks. Like we didn't look at just like how we can automate just the repetitive tasks. Like how we can make it as a completely AI-driven customer, customer care, basically. So some of these things are very critical. Like, so when we look at the value, we can bring in the better value when you have like automate like an end-to-end process like in a more intelligent way.
Awesome, nice. It's a very deep thought for me right now, and this question is going to Megha. So we are connecting this 4 different people: a person who is an user, might be a customer or consumer; a person who is operator inside the organization, might be as an employee or a vendor; the third one is the person who is actually running the organization as an entrepreneur or the chief of the thing, the organization; and fourth one are people who are trusting how this entire process works out, might be investor, board of directors, or whoever, might be the governance or the compliances and all. And now you had been into all different kind of plethora of work that you have seen through your past experiences. And now you are somebody who is training such kind of amazing people who are, I call them as leaders. But if you look at the numbers, it is only 0.1% of the people who are right now in this bandwagon of AI-based kind of thing. So these are one word that I would like to quote here by a person by Greg. The future of humanity is currently being coded by less than 0.01% of the world population. And now you are that person who is asking the entrepreneurs, investors, founders to utilize such kind of things in their organization as a trend setting or as a transformation. So what are those areas where you are more confident that these are the exact things that can help humanity and help AI talent as well?
Yeah, very good question. Actually, I would like to touch upon quickly some of the things that I speak, some things that I'm very passionate about. So first coming to, so you rightly said, because I worked in media research, set up a tech company, then moved to setting up my own venture. So that gives me the authority to, to help founders this thing. So we have launched AI Startup Blueprint, with which anybody can, launch a startup in 90 days. And it has a step-by-step stack of tech tools. It has a set of processes. How do you measure those processes? Everything has been defined. And also, one more thing that's most important, it's not always about launching. The first phase wherein I talk about is validate your idea. So if you're not able to validate, because a lot of founders are in love with their ideas, and 90% of the startups fail in the first few years. So we validate the idea, and if pivoting is required, we suggest them to pivot at that stage. And then later we have the Divine Scale program, which is a 1-year mentorship wherein I personally work with the top founders and help them to bring that culture as well as use technology piece, because a lot of them, like I said, they still struggle to use the right kind of tech stack. See, the problem is we don't have a lack of tools. We have a lack of knowledge on how to use them. People will be asking, okay, can I use this? Can I use this? Can I use this? No, but what are you going to do with that? What is the objective? What is the result? I think the KPIs has to be said very clearly whenever you are buying or investing in any particular tool. And the next part that I would like to say is about the principle that I talk about is the wheel of life, which I call wheel of fortune, which is basically you have to focus on the different aspects of life. It is, as a founder, we have, we become an entrepreneur as a founder when we have gone through a certain stage. I worked, I earned money. Now I think, yeah, I am at a position that I can invest my time, energy, and money to give back something to solve the problems of startup founders in terms of strategy, in terms of scaling businesses. That's why I'm able to do that. And a lot of you who are sitting here are able to do that. So, the wheel of life, very quickly, I'll just take a minute here, and is basically, you have to invest in your personal growth, in your community give back, towards spirituality, towards your financial growth, towards, so basically grow in the different aspects. That's why it's called a wheel. It's not only about only your business. Focus on your mind. Focus on your mind. The best of the founders that I have worked with are very, very, people who are very resilient. So that is the thing. Ups and downs will happen in this business. Some policy change and everything will happen. So I think that is the thing that is very important, that we have to use technology. We have to be very clear in how we are using, and be clear with the end goals that we want to give back to the society and to ourselves.
Awesome, lovely. This is my understanding that once upon a time, the business was something like, I'll make a new product. Hello? Okay, long back. I'll make a new product which no one has done it. Then it became the next level. I'll make a better product. The product is existing, but I'll make it a better one. Then there is a third thing happened, which is called as disruption. Like, for example, the CD drives. How many of you guys have seen CD drives? Is it existing right now? There used to be a company, they used to make CD drives, lens cleaners. Are there? They were like, that entire industry is over. Now it is a new base, so it is a disruption. And then came something called as an exponential dynamics. Utilizing the power of the topic, the AI talent, you can actually predict the longevity of an industry or a sector to a certain extent. Now, that brings another vision into the question. Now, we have somebody who is already an investor, and he started multiple companies also. So, in such kind of a humdrum, where do you see right now the power of AI in implementing, actual implementations of how it is working with your existing organization? And maybe you can talk about your experiences, throw some lights on that.
Sure. So I can say the AI is a completely, it's a kind of a catalyst or a facilitator, instead of telling that as a, job keeper, something. So, and, as of for our thing, like as I told, we're creating a world-class product which is for Indians. So that is something like purely for startup. I think this is very relevant to speak here about that particular product a bit. So which is like, when a person starting a startup, he may not aware about the legal stuff. But as per Indian law, which is a company law, so a startup or a business is a legal person, which is a legal entity. So for that legal entity, as a person, we are a human, right? So for us human, we used to take a health check every year. So to identify and diagnose the things like blood sugar or BP, whatever. So likewise, for the startups as well, for the early stage startups, they have to do some sort of compliances every year. So for example, let's say ROC filing, MCF compliances, or DIN KYC. So this type of things are all. But the startup founders at the initial stage, they couldn't have any idea on that particular thing. They thought, thinking that just paying 10,000 to register the company, that's all. Just having the incorporation certificate, they're saying that, oh, that's it, my company has been registered, so I can do whatever the thing I want. But that is not the actual case. The thing is, they need to do compliance every year, but they are not aware. But government is something treating everyone equal. So they are putting penalties for the non-compliance things. For example, for a DIN KYC process for a director, 5,000 penalty per director is there. But those startups, those who are not aware about that, they're missing out the penalty deadlines, and ending up with the penalties of 15 to 20,000 per year. That is a very burden for the initial stage. Often all of their investments are going waste, funds are going waste in this particular area. So for that, we're creating this product which will help the startup by just entering the CIN number, CIN number, to identify what are the risks, what are the problems they have, and what are the risks they will be, getting for the next 6 months. There is a prediction will be going to be there, and that will be with the support of AI. So that AI model will completely analyze the business by using the single data, and for the backend we're using the APIs and all. That is more technical, and anyway. So by entering those numbers, they will get all the records of their company, of their startup, and their level where they are actually, and if this continues, where they will be. So all the records will be showed as a single PDF. They can get clear idea on where they are lagging, and they will identify, okay, this is the risk I have for the next 6 months.
So the same question to you. How efficient do you think is this utilization of this AI talent for a new upcoming budding startup or already an existing company? How much do you trust this in a scale of 1 to 10?
Okay, it's all about trust. Means like we are not completely dependent on the AI. It's human-centric only. Human are the one creating the AI.
Yeah.
So I can say we can trust 9.9%. We can say.
Lovely.
Yep.
That's really commendable. Okay. So since we're talking about a lot of data, a lot of processes, people, and I would like to touch upon with Kiran. In this particular situation, since we have very few minutes left out, can you talk about why it is important that people should be looking at the kind of new venture that we are talking about, the new systems and the design, the 5-point elements we're talking about, and why it is important for people to look upon to you as a subject matter expert?
So specific to me, like I say, I do have my own data and AI consulting firm, which is called NIMHANS. So I've been in the industry since the last 23 years, working for some of the top banks in Australia and then US, whatnot. And also I've been a champion in data governance and then responsible AI, whatnot. And also, I've been a chairperson for establishing the data and AI governance for Australian federal government and Bengaluru Bank, whatnot. So the critical part, to succeed in this journey is establishing the having the proper governance, data governance, and also you need to have a responsible AI as well. So I have a vision to bring the industry leaders under a common platform, so where people can leverage each other, instead of reinventing the wheel. So this is where I come from. So I want to work with the some of the smart and then industry leaders, so that we can co-create the ecosystem.
So thank you so much, Kiran. Let me just also touch upon with Megha. So you have spoken about a lot of areas in terms of connecting dots with different people, including team members to entrepreneurs to founders to even you talked about consumers and customers, and you connected very nicely. So can you talk about something which is that one element, or might be something that people can take away from this particular session from you?
Yeah, so I think one key thing is that we need to understand that the AI talent war is for real. Okay, so we have seen a lot of layoffs in the FANG, now we call it the MANG companies, Microsoft, Amazons, and all these companies. So we need to understand, and I would also take this platform to, I hope, it reaches to the government also. We need to reformulate some of the, strategies. See, the layoffs are happening currently. Most of the startup layoffs that happen, they don't give any severance allowance. And these companies, they give severance allowance, but it is taxable. It's highly taxable because it's counted as the income. It'll come in the 40% bracket because it will depend upon, how many years the person has been with the organization and stuff like that. So I think we need to work on those kind of policies the government has to think, because you never know in this situation when the person will get the next job, especially with these companies that the people have been there for 20, 21 years, which I read all the reports. And so this is my ask from the government, to look at the financials and the taxation aspect. The other thing specific to, because all of us are investors and startup entrepreneurs and founders, so here is that we have to train the people. Like I lead the Wiki AI and machine learning chapter. So the thing is we need to train more and more people to use it effectively. And the thing that keeps coming up is that we need to be very, very aware. We need to look at the behavior aspect also, look at the culture aspect also, and look at how we can do it with a clear conscience, because I think it's already been covered in the panel before about ethics and this thing. So that is really important. In a country like India with 1.5 billion population, it is definitely, we need to stagger the adoption, though it's going to happen at a later, things will happen at a, will take time. But I think we need to look at the linguistic diversity as well. Thank you.
All right, lovely. A lot of things to learn. Okay, big round of applause for Megha. Thank you. We have only a few minutes, just quickly before, if I'm allowed to share might be around 5 or 6 pointers there. Last question to Balaji. It's going to be a kind of a trick question to you.
Okay.
Now, look at the investors who are there from decades or might be centuries back. The most powerful investor in the world was somebody by name Mr. Jagat Seth from Murshidabad in West Bengal. He had more in terms of wealth than existing Elon Musk also. Okay, that was the time.
Yeah.
From there, they have invested on British Empire and all these things. And now you are a new age investor and entrepreneur,
Right.
and you are liaised with lot of predictive pundits, not only AI, but other things. So what is that one thing that people can take from you as a new age entrepreneur investor with this entire AI talent from this session?
Sure. So the thing is, every time I used to see the companies, the startups, those who are starting the startups, or they are much tech-oriented, or they are not people-centric, I can say, when compared to relevant to this topic. There are many companies I used to see that they telling themselves of AI-first company. But when I'm as a person, I used to think about people every time, because we build a company like people-first company. We give preference to the people first, then profits, then the tech. Actually, we are into the tech company alone.
Lovely.
Yeah, but anyway, people are the main priority. We should respect them first. Then only we could build technologies with the help of them, right? So, and I can say, because even the thing is, today is our 5th anniversary, but now I am here.
Congratulations.
Because the thing is, I always focus on the growth, not on celebrations and all. Because if we continuously growing means at any point we can do the fun activities and a lot of stuff. But the fun activities are going at one part, even without me. But for me, this is the fun or enjoyment, I can say.
I think you bringing out time here and sharing your knowledge, all three of you, it's a great privilege for all of us. Last, can I take around 2 minutes to the audience here? The domain in which I have recently been working, and the domain in which I was working, many of you guys might not know, it is called as closing. I close deals on commission basis. The last part of the business. You have done your AI, done your marketing, done your stuff, every goddamn thing, but the numbers comes only when a deal is closed. And that is where I was been working from many years. Then I moved into understanding one thing, is closing is very difficult when the other person, the client or prospect, if he doesn't know what problem he has, he doesn't know what I have the solution, and if it is eligible for both of us, and at what price and at what cost and what initiative, then the closing becomes very difficult. So I said, why not we work on certain things? And thanks to the dimension of AI, I understood the exact pain points, and I still believe AI can give you some directions. AI can give you some fantastic research, which was earlier not possible. Yes, you have an amazing tool with you, but what is more about it is the inner love. How many of you guys are, had breakfast or lunch? Just give me a yes. You had breakfast, lunch? Okay. So that means you had taken that 1 spoon of food, that food cost money, yes or no? That money comes to you only when you, your service, your product, or your organization, whatever it is, able to serve somebody with some problem. Does it make sense? So whether you are minimizing the problem or permanently deleting the problem, or you are ensuring that the problem will never repeat in your life tomorrow. These are the 3 layers that I thought, why not we touch upon here? So now it is easy because you have a Chanakya with you in the form of an AI talent. So now you have a Chanakya, now you have a tool. Now, if you are not able to take that guts to start something, I'm not talking about startup, think beyond, serve beyond. I think that's a beautiful thing. So just before leaving you with a beautiful note here, the future is going to be owned by not only just normal people, but the people who are having vision, thoughtfulness of connecting. As you need to be a teacher, trainer, coach, guru, mentor to your organization, not only to your organization, but your consumer and vendor as well. And the third thing, you definitely need the data, you definitely need the process, you need the people. That brings a wonderful culture, thanks to experts like Kiran, Megha, and Balaji. Thank you so much for listening to us patiently after such a long session. And thank you so much. Namaskaram. Dr. Amit Nath signing out.
Can I just add one point?
Yeah.
As a part of the community give back, I am been living in Karnataka for long, but unfortunately the corporate world doesn't, there's a one common language, English. So we did not focus so much on learning Kannada. But now I felt that this is my home, so I should be knowing the language of the land. And using AI, I'm not only learning, but I'm also training 500 people of my apartment who are from different states in the thing. I'm using tech stack to teach and learn Kannada.
Lovely. Beyond boundaries. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for listening to us. I'll give the mic to the organizers here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. As we wrap up this insightful panel discussion, we would like to take a moment to acknowledge and appreciate our moderator and panelists for sharing their valuable perspectives and expertise. We now invite Mr. Anup Tarafdar to kindly present the mementos to our moderator and panelists. Let's show our appreciation with a warm round of applause. Entrepreneurship at the Startup Expo. Thank you.
We are now arrived at our final and most awaited segment of the day, a power-packed discussion titled The Investor's Dilemma, Betting Big on AI or Waiting Out the Hype. As artificial intelligence continues to disrupt industries and redefine innovation, investors are facing a crucial question. Is now the time to go all in, or is patience the smarter play?
To lead this highly anticipated session, we are privileged to have with us Mr. Ramesh Gupta, Head and Director of Risk Practice of FIS Global Solutions. Mr. Gupta is an accomplished leader with extensive experience in digital banking, fintech, and AI-powered risk analysis.
Please join us in welcoming our moderator, Mr. Ramesh Gupta. Joining him on the panel is Mr. Manish D'Souza, Chief Investment Officer at Outnorm Ventures and Outnorm Capital. Mr. D'Souza is a visionary investor and startup mentor who has played a key role in shaping India's AI and deep tech investment ecosystem. Please welcome Mr. Manish D'Souza.
Our next distinguished panelist is CA Abhijit Preman, founder and designated partner at Abhijit Preman & Co. LLP, Bengaluru, and partnered at Syndicate Advisor, Dubai. Let's extend a warm welcome to CA Abhijit Preman.
With that, let's invite our moderators and panelists to the stage of an engaging, insightful conversation on the realities, risks, and rewards of investing in AI.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Is the energy level still there? Hope it is. Now we are going to have the session, The Investor's Dilemma. We are at the good cross intersection of whether AI is a hype or AI is something that is giving real value to the investors, to the customers. If you see the trends, there are people who are talking about 95% of the AI projects are becoming failure. There are people who are also talking that this is like a big AI movement. If we miss this opportunity, we will miss building another Google. If you look at the investments are growing rapidly. This year, the investment size is $138 billion, and 52% of the venture capital investment is coming from AI. And on the other side, the number of deals are coming down. Earlier it was, in 2016, if you see, it was around 30,000 deals, and it went to 50,000 overall startup deals, and now it has come down to 30,000 deals. So we see a trend of higher investment and then lower number of deals. With this, we have two extreme panelists, two extremely renowned panelists, Mr. Manish and Mr. Abhijit. So both are uniquely placed to address this panel discussion. Manish is talking to investors, talking to startups on day-to-day basis and cuts checks, whereas Mr. Abhijit helps startups to get the funding. So with this, this is a unique combination, and then this is the right VC discussion that we are having it today. So let's start with the opening remarks from Manish and Abhijit on how the AI dilemma is going on and what is your take on it.
Hi, good evening, everybody. AI dilemma, whether it's exuberance, whether it's hype, or is there something real? I think it's a bit of both, bit of everything. This kind of scenarios much earlier. And every transformative technology cycle will always take a stage where valuations skyrocket and people feel it's a bubble, and eventually the end result of that, something true, something foundational comes out. So this happened in 90s during internet. This happened in 2010 when iPhone came out. Even 2015, cloud became big. So at every point, there are situations where valuations skyrocket and people feel, okay, what's going to happen? But then the wreckage of that, we got Google, Amazon, eBay, iPhone. So many of these technologies come out only because the hype happens and a lot of people build, and there's a lot of trial and error goes into play, and then something of value comes out. In terms of, you mentioned that I think 50% of the funding is going, which is highest I know of, because even in internet boom, it was around 40% So this is the highest concentration, but I think there are various reasons. I think we'll explore that as we move along. So short answer is a bit of both.
Okay.
Yeah, hi everyone. Good evening. First of all, thank you, Rameshji, for the intro. And thank you, Eventex and Dr. Anoop and Rati for inviting for the event. So basically to answer the question or like the opening note what Rameshji has told, I think the answer is there in the remarks what he has made. He has told that like what 150 billion or 150 billion of funding has happened in AI, in which 52% of overall VC funding has happened in AI. but the number of companies have come down. So I think the hype is there for AI, but the investors are also looking for good companies. That is why the number of companies have come down, even though the investment amount has, I think from compared to last year, the investment amount might have gone up is what I believe. So the number of deals coming down, which means that investors are focusing on good companies. And even in that 150 billion, I think 40 billion is by OpenAI or 13 billion is by Anthropic. So I think like kind of the investors are focusing on good companies. The hype is there. But again, the investors are kind of, monitoring all the AI. Like there are a lot of companies coming in. There are a lot of AI wrappers coming in. So the investors are focusing on good companies. They are betting on the best companies is what I feel.
Thank you. So just few half an hour ago or 1 hour ago, we discussed about AI for Bharat and how we build AI for India, AI firms for India. So Indian startups are not to the level of the Amazon or Anthropic billions of dollars of funding. So how do you see the Indian investments, and how do you see the VC growing for India, where the number of deals could be high, but the value of the deals could be lower?
I think the numbers are slightly, gives a different picture, because most of the mega deals that have happened are into firms that are doing foundational models, and India, I don't think so, is in the race of that, at least not yet. And I think India, what works for India is more on the application AI segment, and for which we don't really need those billions coming in. We can manage with the millions that we get. One thing that remains still a core thing to move is finding real problems and solving those real problems, rather than just creating something, AI wrappers on top of ChatGPT and all that. So once that is there, I think in our circles there's enough. We are looking for those startups who are solving real problems. And I think we don't need to chase the billions, and when that is required, VC ecosystem is still new and it's yet to mature. So moonshot ideas were never given the preference, but I think that is also changing, and I think moving forward we'll see more funding coming in.
I like the idea. Solving the real problems is the key, rather than chasing the billions of dollars. I agree with you. And Mr. Abhijit, you have an impressive track record of structuring 50+ fundraising deals. Assume that an investor comes to you, a startup comes to you and says that I'm an AI startup. So what kind of risks you see, what kind of red flags you see, and how do you take up that?
This is actually a real life scenario for me. Like a lot of companies these days come telling that they are into AI. But in most of the cases, I see this AI as a branding kind of thing. They may be doing something else, but they are telling that with the power of AI, by integrating AI into this, we are going to do this. So one thing, using AI as a branding tool is a very big red flag, I would say. And on top of that, like using, if your product is fully like kind of an AI wrapper from ChatGPT or Anthropic or whatever it is, again, that's going to be like, it's not going to sustain, like it's not going to be a proper model. Then one thing what I've noted is like kind of not owning the proper IP. Like even though they might have built a product or something, but when we ask about the IP ownership and all, they are clueless, like what to do, what we need to do and all. Those things are kind of, I see as a red flag. These are specific to AI segment. Apart from that, like there are many other things which we can tell, but we'll discuss in the next questions or something.
So IP rights is the key, proper ownership of the thing and the real value, not just the wrappers.
And not just for branding purpose, like just using AI as a branding tool doesn't work at least in the investment, this one.
Yeah, right. I think there was a saying, if the product doesn't have real value, you just put a beautiful girl next to the product and sell in the market. So the product will have value comes, sorry for the wording. Okay, so maybe there are companies they just add AI and come to the market, and I like your expression of looking at the real value and it's not the wrapper and the real usage. Thank you. And as an investor, how do you see this? What kind of risks or red flags you see when someone comes to you with AI startup?
I think again, as you said, AI for branding, putting AI up there in the pitch deck doesn't really help your cause. We would like to understand, by getting AI itself doesn't really make any decision for us. You have to, again, go back to basics and what problem you're solving and how AI is actually helping you solve the problem. I think that is one thing very clear. And in terms of if AI is helping you do that in a much better way, yes. How you're doing it, but if it's just an AI startup where your ChatGPT's next update is going to make you irrelevant, then that's not something we look at.
Thank you. And looking at the valuation side, how do you reconcile the traditional valuation metrics with AI startups valuation metrics? How do you balance these and arrive at the deal value?
Traditional valuations don't really work, the multiples thereof, right? Like if you look at a SaaS company will have won't really have cost on getting user, like once you have the thing set up, there's not really cost that associated with getting new user. Whereas in an AI startup, you have every API call, every inference from the model or any data refresh, everything, there's a cost associated to it. You're paying the model, and that brings down your margins to 20% or lower, at least in the initial phase, compared to SaaS companies doing 70-80% straight up, right? So there's no comparison to that. So after the initial basic financial check, we look at how good is your data proprietary or your model itself. Is there a defensible moat? There are so many other things around the model that we look at, and then come to a valuation. So we don't really use the old school multiples that we use for SaaS and other things. There's a different hybrid version that we use to get to a valuation.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, valuation itself is a kind of controversial topic, I would say. Like a lot of, because I see a lot of early stage founders coming to me and telling that they want to raise 10 or 15 crore at 100 crore valuation, because they are seeing the PR or the newspaper articles stating that Zepto might have raised $1 billion in 2 months' time. So they are seeing all these articles, and I mean, that is something what people typically do. So see, the thing is if you are a very early stage company, be it an AI startup or anything, it's not better to fix a valuation on your own. It's better you tell what is your requirement, have a wording with the investor, tell them what percentage you are willing to negotiate. I mean, that is how the typical conversation happens. Then both of you agree at some point, and that is how values arrive. But coming to the practical side of doing a valuation, if we were to do in a discounted cash flow method, that is the kind of government accepted model, even though I mean, as an investor, he may disagree. DCF, anybody can alter. If you put the growth percentage from 5% to 6%, 100 crore value will go to 200 crore. That much of change you can make by just changing one number. But even though while working on the DCF model, the main things what I've noted is the computed costs, like the GPU or the cloud costs are, I mean, there is a kind of volatility in those things. Then the secondary thing would be there need to be a proper kind of bifurcation between what is going to be your research and development or the capital asset and what is going to be your operating expense. So that bifurcation mostly in case of startups or in case of companies they find it difficult. What should be the R&D, what should be because if you were to raise funds at a later point of time, not at an early stage, I mean, a lot of thing depends on your EBITDA, a lot of thing depends on your revenue, all those things. So and when EBITDA is calculated, you will have to eliminate the R&D thing, because that becomes an asset that goes to the balance sheet. So that is not part of the P&L. So that bifurcation, those things is actually a kind of bit, bit challenging when it comes to the AI companies, is what I have felt.
Yeah, right. The traditional DCF models will not work, and we need to look at what the investor is looking at, and yeah, makes sense. Thank you. Maybe I have a scenario. Say a founder has an AI fintech startup. He has 10,000 paying users, and the revenue is $500,000, but he is burning $100,000 per month, which is like at the year end he is making $700,000 loss. And he got two term sheets, one from traditional VC, say at $8 million, and one from corporate VC at $12 million with restrictions. So how does the founder look at these two term sheets, and what kind of call he should take it?
So $500,000 ARR?
ARR, yes.
And 100,000 burn per month?
Yes.
Okay. So roughly around 20% burn. Okay. If you look at just plain valuation, 8 million versus 12 million, so generally early founders, young founders will go for the 12 million one, but you've got to understand how. So Mark Andreessen tells it the best, like, don't go for valuation, look at the terms. Terms is what matters. Terms is something you'll not focus early, but you'll pay for it much later. So VC standard, VC offer 8 million will be a standard terms, nothing, no restrictions. Maybe around 5 to 10 years of exit is what they would be looking at, and maybe a board seat and maybe a few other tag along, drag along rights. I think that's all the VC is going to go for. Whereas a corporate VC, I think you got to look at what is in offer other than the money. If they're putting in restrictions, you may be up for acquisition in the next 3 to 5 years, and then the corporate VC can block it because it's part of the terms. So I think that's where you got to understand the terms, what comes with the money, what is the color of the money, and how well you're placed to take that money, and does it give you leverage or does you put you in shackles? I think that's what you got to understand and take the call. So I will go deep into the restrictions that are there and figure out if that is worth. If it's an eventual acquisition target, then maybe makes sense. Other than that, if somebody's going to put restrictions at the start of a relationship, I don't really advise anybody to go into that relationship.
Yeah. So same question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. My answer would also be more or less the same, because I've seen circumstances wherein founders have come to me with multiple term sheets from different investors. So we go through the terms, what all are the terms. Valuation and dilution is obviously a factor. But more than that, even if we see the reality shows like Shark Tank or something like, the investor makes a lot of difference. For example, if you are you are an edtech startup, and the investor has a lot of edtech companies in his portfolio, maybe even though that investor is offering a lower valuation, it's better to go with that investor, because he'll give you access to more other players in the edtech world, which can actually kind of help you with a lot of price negotiation. There is a company which I know personally. So they got funding from one VC which is backed by edtech. So they connected them with all the national media heads. So the price at which they were doing paper advertisement comparatively reduced, because they have got direct access to the heads of this department. Or if you are a D2C company, and if you are speaking to an investor who has got a supply chain, he has got deep rooted, like somebody like an Asian Paints, or somebody who has deep rooted network, maybe such a kind of investor would be fine. And also regarding the restrictions, like what all things, if at all the reserved matters or like kind of the conditions that the investors are putting on you are very hard or very tough for you to survive, maybe like that also causes a issue, because at the end of the day you need to have that freedom, or like kind of you need to have that freedom to follow your conviction or take that bold decision and all. But if at all those, like for 1 lakh you need to take approval from the investor, I mean that is not going to work. So there are a lot of things depending on that. I mean, not just the valuation or dilution.
So, and many people attend this event are young entrepreneurs, startups, right? So from the legal and compliance perspective, what are the important aspects they should consider in the term sheet?
Okay, so one mainly like kind of what sort of instrument you are giving to the investor is the first thing. Typically investors would be going for a CCPS or a CCD, preference share or a convertible preference share or a convertible debenture, because they need to have preference over the equity holders in case of a liquidation or something, which typically happens in most of the startup deals. So what sort of instrument you are giving, what is the percentage, what is the percentage you are diluting. On top of that, you should be checking like what is the liquidation preference. Like when I say liquidation preference, for example, these are terms which founders often doesn't look. So for example, most of the VCs write a liquidation preference of 1x. But there are few cases where we see 1.5x or 2x being written. So which means that, for example, you run the the investor invested 1 crore into the company, okay, and you run the business. The business was profitable. Finally, at the end of the day, you have 1.5 crore in bank account, but for some reason you are winding up the company. So at that point of time, the investor is having 10% of the company, the founder is having 90%. But if everybody were equity shareholders, this 1.5 crore should be distributed in the ratio of 90:10. The founder will get 1.35 crore, investor would be getting only 15 lakh, which is, not justified because the investor has put in 1 crore as capital. But what happens with the liquidation preference is that the investor first gets his 1 crore back, and the remaining 50 lakhs is split in the ratio between 90:10. So what happens is the founder gets 45 lakhs, the investor gets another additional 5 lakh. But if the liquidation preference is 1.5x, even the investor has put in 1 crore, firstly you will have to pay 1.5 crore to the investor. The founder will be left with no money. So there are conditions like that. There are like, restrictive clauses for free transferability of shares for founders. There will be, for equity shares itself, there are vesting schedules. Even though the equity shares are owned by you, there are restrictions on transferability being held. If at all the founder leaves after 1 year or say 15 months, in that case, like a portion of their equity gets forfeited. So there are clauses like that, which the founder is not much aware. They are in a hurry to kind of get the money into the bank. So there are lot of terms and conditions, which maybe like the time won't be enough. Yeah.
It is a big term sheet, so every term needs to be read carefully and understand.
Correct. Yeah.
And also it needs to be read by somebody who understands it, because
yes.
many a times a lot of people think they understand, but the language is such that you can be misled.
Yes. Yeah. And I like your point. Restrictive clauses maybe looks simple now, but pays more money at the end. Okay, and I like the clarification you have given on core dilemma. Some people argue AI is a bubble, and then some feel that this is the real growth that is happening. So, what is your suggestion to venture capital funds? Right? Is it a good time to invest in AI funding, or wait and see, or go aggressive in the market? What do you suggest?
I think it depends on a lot of factors. Your thesis, your fund, which stage of fund you're in, early deployment or late deployment, how much you want to allocate and all that. But generally what I would say is never to rush into anything. Don't go aggressively on anything, or don't sit out. If AI is part of your thesis, understand which part of AI you want to get into, what kind of technology you want to get into, where you want to invest. Because setting out will not help you unless you get into the water, you don't know where the fishes are moving. So you need to get your hands dirty. And most of the VC funds understand it's not every investment will give them a massive returns. It's just about getting enough exposure. And also we are in the process of understanding this whole AI. We have just scratched the surface. Unless we understand, we keep investing and understand what is happening. And then eventually we'll be able to get exposure into much, much bigger things. I think basic business metrics has to be ticked. There's no point just throwing money around. It's going to spoil the market anyways. Go cautiously but optimistically. And yeah, cautious optimism is what I would go with.
Cautiousness and optimism, the right.
So, I mean, I'll speak that from a startup point of view, like when to go for funding and when to not go for funding. So, I mean, if at all your business is doing good, like you have found the early traction, your revenues are like kind of predictable or kind of stable, your churn rate is less. I mean, that's a good time you need to approach an investor if you need fund. Second, like the market conditions, if it is favoring your sector, like if you are into the AI sector, currently the market conditions are favoring the AI sector, but the investors are a bit cautious, I would say. So that's a good time. Then the third thing would be like kind of you have built a company, you have reached a stage wherein like kind of it's profitable, but beyond this, if you need to go, you need extra capital. Like you're doing good now, I'm good with this now, but if I need to scale, I need money. That would be an ideal time to approach an investor. And again, like kind of regarding the valuation thing also, like kind of if you get a good valuation now, again, valuation depends a lot on the market conditions as well. So if you look at the COVID era, like 2020, 2021, that is when most of the Indian companies got like kind of highest valuation. Even at some point, Byju's were valued at 22 billion. See, one of the main reason for that sort of valuation was a lot of fund was available. I mean, the US FedEx rates were comparatively low, so there were a lot of funds coming in from US. So that was one reason why companies got a lot of valuation. And for some reason, I have a feeling like in next 1 or 2 years, maybe something like that, because the investors are a bit cautious now. For almost like kind of few deals which I have worked on, the investors have liked the model, but they need to wait a bit more. I mean, even with I've been pitching for a AI startup with 500k ARR now. They're doing like kind of 100 plus paid customers. Pretty good. Like the founders have had 2 exits in the past. Still, I mean, the investors are giving good feedback, but they still want to wait for a little more traction. I mean, so there is like kind of people waiting to invest really. So I think like kind of so that is going to happen is what I think, like in next 1 or 2 years. I mean, yeah, that's it from my end. Yeah.
Okay. And switching the gears slightly, so we also hearing that like 95% of the AI projects are becoming failures. So have you come across like any disasters in AI investment? Maybe 2-3 examples or something if you can quote.
I mean, personally, I don't remember anything, but I believe like there will be a lot, because see, from I'm a chartered accountant. Like I'm one among the 2.5 or 3 lakh chartered accountants in India. Like the number of inquiries I get for startup funding or this with AI powered is too much. I mean, I hear the whole deck and I ask them like, where is AI? I mean, there would be nothing like, I mean, what you can do using ChatGPT. I mean, I'm not a techie, I'm not a tech guy, but I use ChatGPT a lot. I create my own GPTs for all the proposal creation, whichever duties can be automated, like for creating case studies or for creating, like when we reach out to investors, we create a no-namer document. For that, I have created a GPT. Like, which all automation can be done that I'm doing by myself, but I don't think that is a product per se. So, one reason why the failure rate could be high is because of the 95%, a majority could not really be AI startups. They're just using the branding tag also. And like kind of, what not, like, I mean, ChatGPT is evolving, I mean, every AI is evolving. Now they have released the agentic version, like, what, couple of months back. Now, so the agentic AI sector is also facing a issue. I mean, when we are pitching to the investors for an agentic model, they are also a bit concerned. I mean, they are waiting for how ChatGPT or Anthropic is going to, or Gemini is going to evolve with this agentic model. So that maybe at some point after 3 months or 6 months, the startup that that is being pitched may become irrelevant because of the pace at which the AI is growing. So, I mean, personally, no such experience. I'm to tell the name, but over a period, I think, like, kind of, we'll have the numbers coming in.
Disasters usually don't happen because of AI as such. General business failures, mismanagement of finances, vision, clarity not being there, understanding the market, understanding not being there. One thing he touched upon, a lot of people don't really follow what's happening with, let's say, ChatGPT or Anthropic or XAI. Like, what are they planning to do, right? And if you're doing exact same thing, you cannot outpace them at all. So again, don't build anything just because you want to build, just for the sake. AI is great and I know something and I'll build it. So always pick a real problem and iterate on solution, and that'll always be your, and have a defensibility moat, and you'll be safeguarded from many other disasters that'll come in. Also, gone are the days where a lot of people still live in 2021 where raise big, grow fast, and we'll look at profitability later. Now, most of the VCs, if not all, have gone into a phase where they look at unit economics very, very carefully, understand margins, look at your profitability. So you've got to have profitability in mind to start with. Even if you're not profitable to start with, you need to have that mindset to start with. So that's what most of the investors are looking at.
So financial discipline is the key, can I say?
Absolutely, absolutely. And basic understanding of what's happening in the market.
And say founders, like if somebody is ready to invest, if VC comes to invest, so they get tempted and then they try to take the funding, right, even if they don't need it. Is it a good idea to take the funding when it is available, or start focusing on building the fundamentals?
Building fundamentals always, and plus it's not that easy to get funding out of VCs. So generally, like I always joke around, we always have this joke running. A job of a VC is to say, out of 100, say no to 99 and run behind that one to take the money. So if it's available, if you're ready with the parameters he mentioned, yes. Because you don't know what the market trend at that point would be, if there's a funding winter or whatever. So if it's available and if you're ready to take the money, yes. If you're not ready, then don't really take the money. It's just, financial discipline, you have to build that in.
I think if they really need money, then effectively they should get the valuation and then approach people like Abhijit to get the help. And then,
I mean, valuation is very much secondary or tertiary. I would say, like, primary thing is to have the basic financial discipline, the basic compliance in place. I mean, for your question, like, no VC would be coming without your fundamentals being proper. So, like, both won't come. Nobody would come to you. Then you build the fundamentals, won't happen. If your fundamentals are strong only, they may give you a term sheet, but in the due diligence phase, everything will kind of.
And how do you differentiate between noise and the real value of the startup? So I think you are talking to a lot of startups on a daily basis and cutting the checks. So how do you see this, like 99 are noise, right? So how do you find out that one startup that deserves funding?
I think over a period of time, you kind of build that pattern recognition in you. It's based on experience. We make mistakes and we learn from them as well. So sometimes we are wrong, sometimes we are pleasantly surprised. So we try and go by a few models and few patterns, but we get surprised all the time.
The only thing is common is surprise. Yeah. Change. Okay. Thank you. One rapid fire question for both of you. Okay. One for you and one for Vijay. Okay. Name one thing founders should stop doing when positioning their AI startup to investors, and one thing they should start doing.
Stop making a headline saying I'm AI for this and I'm disrupting that. Because what happens, I mean, I'll tell you, like, it's when you're a category creator, you spend a lot of money educating the customers and people who are going to pay you. So investors always think that if you're a category creator, you should have that much more creds to do that. If not, it's going to fail. So unless you're really disrupting something, don't mention that. Your first slide shouldn't be something that will not you look further down, right? So that, please don't do it. And one thing to do, I think, show how exactly AI is involved in this, right? Show your margins, like how much you're spending, how much your margins are, how much, like in what way the AI is working, and in what few instances AI is not working, so that we know this is your strong suit, this is the weaknesses you need to cover. So give a sense of what exactly is happening. So I think these two.
Same question? Okay.
Yeah. For you, your favorite financial numbers. Okay. What is the one financial metric that's non-negotiable for AI startups seeking institutional funding, and one common misconception founders have about fundraising?
Okay. Maybe specific to AI startup, I would say what gross margin after computed cost, or GMAC, like he was telling that earlier. So see, people typically, like SaaS companies have 70-80% gross margin. So the computer cost is actually, you should treat it as a direct cost itself. So the gross margin after computer GMAC should be one metrics. And if at all, like enough, you have a GMAC of 50% and you are able to sustain it at scale, I mean, that would be an interesting model for any investor, I would say. So GMAC would be one metrics which every AI startup should be monitoring. And what was the second question?
One common misconception founders have about fundraising.
Okay. Maybe like kind of giving a product demo to an investor, like giving a good product demo to an investor completes everything is a concept where the founders are. Because when I speak with founders, or like they tell that we have given the demo, it was good, the investors liked it. But on top of that, the governance and compliance and the financial discipline, that is also very important. Like you'll get a term sheet, but after the term sheet, there is due diligence. If you have to surpass the DD, like you should have the discipline. And it's actually very worse, like you having a term sheet and getting like kind of disqualified in the DD stage because you were expecting that funds to come in. You were maybe you might have built up some liabilities for that fund to meet. So I mean, it's a very, very disastrous state to be in. So just giving a good product demo doesn't mean that you have done good product. Just be compliant with your finance and compliances. Yeah.
Product is the starting point.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned about GMAC, right? It's an interesting metric. Could you elaborate a bit for the audience?
Yeah. So basically, like kind of, if you look at typical business, there is gross margin, we say. So gross margin is what? Sales minus direct expenses. I mean, including the COGS, cost of goods sold, if it's a trading business. So like in gross margin after computer cost means like kind of after sales, you deduct the direct expenses, what all are the direct expenses relevant to your business. And then you get the gross margin. After that, you deduct the computer cost. Like computer cost would be the GPU cost or the cloud cost or whatever cost you have incurred. So after that, you arrive at a second level gross margin after computer cost. So that is how GMAC is computed.
Thank you.
Yeah.
maybe from audience side, any questions?
I want to understand what is your investment budget total, valuation of your investment firm.
Maybe like I don't have an investment firm. Like,
sorry, I didn't get the question.
What is your investment firm present valuation of your company?
We don't have a valuation.
You are asking for the ticket size?
Yeah.
Ticket size.
We do $500,000. $500,000 is a check size.
That's something around 4 crores?
4 crores, yeah.
I mean, I don't invest personally. Like I'm into like kind of fundraising and compliance. I'm a chartered accountant by profession. Yeah.
Thank you.
He helped the startups to build the financials, and then
after you meet me, you can meet him.
You can meet him. He cuts the check.
I think there was a question. I think there was a question there as well.
That's an interesting question.
Hi, my name is Deepthi. I'm the founder of an early stage startup that's a blend of consumer and AI. My question is, you mentioned a lot about GM, BCC and things that are more revenue driven or profit driven. So does that mean that you're not investing in early stage companies that probably don't have revenue figured out, but there is potential? Like, is that the trend that the entire market is going towards?
No, not at all. So what I mentioned was profitability mindset. So there are two kinds of founders. One who want to raise at any scale and grow at any scale with whatever losses and capture the bigger market. VCs are not really getting into that kind of businesses anymore. There are few who are doing it, but you need to have that kind of cred and that kind of, like what Zepto is doing. But other than that, if you have the mindset, like eventually you're going to be profitable, and path to profitability, that's what we'd like to understand. We understand that you need to burn first, do a lot of things, and then get into the whole cycle. But then we'd like to understand how we're going to be profitable. That question can't be open-ended. At some point, I'll be profitable. So that is what we don't like hearing.
That makes sense. I have a follow-up question. Like, how do you? So almost sometimes it becomes like a chicken and egg problem, right? Like your GTM would burn a lot of cash if you are, especially if it's consumer or more for a broader audience. So for that you need funds, but then if VCs are looking to invest a little bit later in the cycle, it's almost like you need to show growth, but then you need money to grow. So how do you suggest that founders look at that problem and solve for it?
High margins is one. You look at something with high margins. So that's the only way you can sustain yourself. Anything external you can't really rely on. You can get funding, you can do your friends and family, or get debt funding to support yourself initially, bootstrap. And you don't know at one point you're going to get the money or you will not get the money. But the best money you can get is from the customer. If you can get money from the customer and can sustain yourself and build something like what our Kamath brothers have done, great. If not, there are people who will support you if you're doing the right things.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That was indeed a thought-provoking.
Thank you very much. Just to summarize, maybe I'll take only 1 minute. Okay. So it is clear that AI is not a hype. So AI is real, and then if you build your fundamentals of the company, and if you build sustainability, then it's going to be, it can be a next Google also. So take it and go with positive note, and it's a great opportunity. Thank you, esteemed panelists, Mr. Manish and Mr. Abhijit. I personally learned a lot. It's an eye-opener for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Last but not
Thank
least,
you.
thank you, Mr. Anup, for creating this kind of venue and giving us the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you too, sir, for organizing this. That was indeed a thought-provoking discussion. Exploring AI from both a risk-opportunity perspective, it's clear that while AI brings immense potential, smart investor decisions also still hinges understanding value and vision.
I would now request Mr. Anup sir to give away the memento to our respected moderators and panelists.
I like tissue color.
Event, I would request Mr. Anup sir to give away the vote of thanks.
Thank you so much to all the speakers, all the delegates who came since morning and they have been waiting patiently and listening, and who could make till the last. Thank you and thumbs up, big thumbs up for all of you who are sitting till now. You really understood the value of this event. We had a good registrations, but due to Diwali long weekends, few people could not make it, but we have gone online through YouTube. Many people are watching, and they are putting comments, and personally they are sending me WhatsApp saying that they really missed this session actually. So that's, I feel it's a good achievement that they regretted it being not here. Thank you to all our partners, Mire Asset, Share Khan, IDFC Bank, Days Info as a media partner. We have academic partner from ISBR. We also have Christ Academy for Advanced Studies. We also have Ant CRM. Thank you to Agent G. We also have partner with his People Make, Shivan Infotech, and all the well-wishers, people who supported directly and indirectly to make this event grand success. We are truly thankful to you, and special gratitude goes out from Eventex team to all of you. We'll see you soon again. This time we had a registration of almost 600 registrations. That is the physical registration. We also reached to many fold of that through digital reach, through YouTube and other social media, especially through LinkedIn. Our next session will happen maybe by coming January or max by February. We intend to do every one event in every 3 months under the banner of Startup Expo with a different theme. We started at White Feather with 1,800 delegates, 35 speakers, 50 stalls, because it was a generic Startup Expo, and this is specific theme based on AI. We'll move on to the next one, which we'll publish. We have a consideration for 3 to 4 different themes, which will keep you posted through the social media. And all the people who came here, thanks, a big thanks to all of you from here. Namaskar. With this, I conclude the session of second edition of Startup Expo. Thank you. Good night. Mic, please. Yeah. YouTube, please continue to, don't stop it. YouTube, open, right? Yeah. We have a special concluding ceremony that we have to hand over the certificates to our educational partner and academic partner. We are blessed with two partners. One is ISBR and one is Christ Academy. We love to invite them on stage for the formalities. Please encourage the students. They are all management students. They are graduate students. They are doing different courses in graduate level, master's level. They need our platform to get visibility to the industry people, and we are here to need their help to grow, help each other. Now we invite first Christ Academy students. Please come on stage.
Spin TV.
Thank you everyone, to all the students of ISBR and Christ Academy for all your wonderful support towards the event. Thank you so much.